Chapter 2974. However, there was no aura around Lin Yi's body because the aura in the city was already scarce. When Lin Yi broke through just now, it all gathered and poured into Lin Yi's body. How could there be any aura now? However, what made Lin Yi feel strange was that he could absorb the aura when he broke through, but not when he cultivated. He reckoned that when he broke through, the heaven and earth spiritual chi would automatically gather and form a purer form of energy. But when he cultivated, he couldn't gather the heaven and earth spiritual chi. But now Lin Yi couldn't care less because Lin Yi had a feeling of suffocation. Of course, it wasn't that he couldn't breathe, but his body needed to absorb the aura, and the aura around him couldn't supply it at all. Aunt Qing came to Donghai City, near Lin Yi's villa. However, she didn't enter the villa because it seemed a bit too abrupt. When she was hesitating, she suddenly felt that there were other cultivators nearby. The next moment, Aunt Qing appeared in front of Yu Yi. Although Aunt Qing and Yu Yi were both heaven stage masters, Yu Yi's strength was lower than Aunt Qing, and he was a hidden heaven stage master. Naturally, he was weaker than the heaven stage masters of the ancient sections. Who are you? Aunt Qing's appearance startled Yu Yi. Yu Yi stared at Aunt Qing vigilantly, but he didn't dare to make a move. Although Aunt Qing didn't reveal her strength, someone who could quietly approach him, an early-stage heaven rank expert, was probably an even more powerful expert. Yu Yi was very clear on this point. Aunt Qing only felt that Yu Yi was a cultivator from the aura that Yu Yi revealed when he relaxed, but he didn't reveal which level of cultivator Yu Yi was. Aunt Qing didn't have that kind of cheat, so she couldn't see Elder Li's strength. Where are you a cultivator? What are you doing here? Could it be that you are plotting something? Aunt Qing came here to help Lin Yi guard against those people who wanted to take advantage of the situation. As soon as you hid nearby, Aunt Qing naturally regarded him as Lin Yi's enemy. I am the elder of the hidden house Yu Yi. My presence here doesn't bother you, so who are you with? Yu Yi wasn't arrogant, but he didn't lower his voice either. He asked calmly, Hidden house Yu? Aunt Qing paused. Wasn't that Yu Bing's house? In that case, he shouldn't be an enemy, so his attitude became more amiable. In that case, you can be considered as one of us. Hey, Yu Yi was taken aback. He disapproved of Aunt Qing's attempt to get close to him. Don't try to get close to me. What do you mean we're on the same side? Why don't I recognize you? Aunt Qing smiled after hearing Yu Yi's words. She said that he was one of them, so naturally she was just being polite. She didn't think that Yu Yi would reject her first, but she wasn't annoyed. She only said, Your family's Yu Bing is an outer sect deacon of my sect. Do you think he's one of us? Yu Bing? Outer sect deacon? Didn't this person in front of him come from the Ice Palace? With that thought, Yu Yi shivered. He quickly said respectfully, Senior, are you a master of the Ice Palace? I'm the same as you. I'm also an elder. Aunt Qing was a friendly person. She smiled. Hidden House Yu's old master Yu Xing and class monitor. Old Yu Yi, greet the senior elder of the Ice Palace. Yu Yi quickly cupped his fists and said, but his tone was a little pretentious. Yu Yi's position in the Hidden House Yu wasn't much lower than the current head of the house, Yu Shaoqian. He was also building up his reputation so that his position wouldn't be lower than Aunt Qing's. One had to know that a sky-class elder of the Hidden House Yu wasn't much weaker than a normal elder of an ancient sect. Aunt Qing frowned. Her position as an elder was similar to Yu Yi. Yu Yi's job was to serve Elder Yu, while Qing's job was to serve rock candy. Their positions were very similar, but Aunt Qing didn't purposely emphasize it. But since Yu Yi had spoken like this, Aunt Qing was in the mood to teach him a lesson. She smiled faintly. It seems that our positions are about the same. I am Xiao Qing, just a servant of the sect master. I was able to become an elder because I raised the sect master from a young age, and I relied on my connections to become an elder. Aunt Qing's words sounded like she was belittling herself, but in Yu Yi's ears it was like a thunderclap. He blushed. He thought that in order to gain face for himself, he didn't want to be too weak in front of Aunt Qing, so he said what he said before. He didn't expect that it would bring him humiliation. Aunt Qing's position in the Ice Palace could be said to be second only to the Palace Master, similar to his position in House Yu. But Aunt Qing had always been kind and nice, while he was acting all cocky. It made him feel a little embarrassed. Senior, you're here for. Yui was afraid of embarrassing himself, so he quickly changed the topic. Our Vice Palace Master Feng Xiaoxiao is Mr. Lin Yi's girlfriend. She heard that Mr. Lin Yi was injured, so she asked me to come see if there were any clowns. Aunt Qing said honestly. Elder Yui, did you see them? Elder Qing, you can just call me First Rain. What kind of elder am I in front of you? First Rain blushed and said, I've seen a few clowns. Yui didn't hide anything from little Qing. He told her what he saw. The people of the Zhao family came to find trouble, and the people of the Dark Night Palace came to find trouble, including the first time he came forward to resolve it, and the second time the young master of the Heavenly Elixir School came forward to resolve it. Sky Silkworm Morph is here too? Aunt Qing paused after hearing Yu Yi's words. He didn't think there was anything wrong with Yu Yi's actions. Aunt Qing saw that Yu Bing was training in the Ice Palace, so she thought that the hidden house Yu had a good relationship with Lin Yi. She didn't think that it was so complicated. She only suspected Sky Silkworm Morph's purpose. Yes, the young master said that it was to protect the fairness of the Sky Elixir's test. Yui said, Fairness? When has the Sky Elixir ever been fair? They'd be lucky if they didn't bully others. Aunt Qing humphed coldly, evidently dissatisfied with the Sky Elixir. Yui didn't dare say anything. Ancient matters weren't something a small hidden house elder like him could comment on. He could only pretend that he didn't hear anything. Forget it, let's not talk about this. Other than that, what else did you see? Aunt Qing waved her hand and continued to ask. She obviously didn't want to talk about the Sky Elixir. Chapter 2975. But he didn't say anything about Elder Yu's guesses about Lin Yi pretending to be injured. After all, there was no way to know if it was real or not. He only said what he saw. All right, thank you. Stay here then, I'll go take a look. Aunt Qing didn't chase Yui away. She thought that Yui was sent by Yu Bing to protect Lin Yi. So she turned around and walked towards the villa. Yui breathed a sigh of relief. Looking at Aunt Qing's back, he quickly dialed Elder Yu's number. He had to tell Elder Yu about this. The people from the Ice Palace were here too. It seemed that the situation in the Ice Palace wasn't like what Yu Bing had reported. Bingtang had full control over the Ice Palace, and now Xiaoxiao could make her voice heard in the Ice Palace. Or rather, Xiaoxiao and Bingtang's relationship had reached a certain level. Otherwise, Bingtang wouldn't have allowed someone like Elder Qing to come here. It seemed that House Yu not being too involved in this was the right decision. Otherwise, Yu Bing might get into trouble. Elder Yu heard Yu Yi's report and was a bit surprised, but he wasn't too worried. Yu Yi, do your job. If that Elder Qing talks to you again, find a chance to hint to her that you're here to help Lin Yi because of Yu Bing. Yes, Master. Yui said quickly. Aunt Qing asked about the situation and decided to go to the villa to find Lin Yi. 1, to check on Lin Yi's injuries, and 2, with her here, it would be enough to scare off those who came looking for trouble. With the Ice Palace elder here, even if the Dark Palace came, they'd have to go back. Standing in front of Lin Yi's villa, Aunt Qing rang the doorbell. The sudden ringing startled everyone in the villa. After all, Lin Yi was at the critical moment of breaking through, and someone suddenly came to visit. Naturally, everyone was nervous. I'll go take a look. Old Pai pondered for a moment before saying. He was a heaven rank expert and was the strongest among them, so he volunteered to take the lead. Naturally, no one objected. Elder Pai came to the door and saw a woman in green standing there. She didn't look like a modern person, but more like someone from ancient times or from a Wuxia TV show. May I ask who you're looking for? Elder Pai asked curiously. Hello, is this Mr. Lin Yi's villa? I'm Elder Qing of Ice Palace, and the Sect Master and Vice Palace Master Feng sent me here. They heard that Mr. Lin Yi was injured, so they asked me to come here to scare some of them. Aunt Qing, naturally, told the people around Lin Yi about her identity and purpose of coming here, as well as her identity as an elder of the Ice Palace to Old Pai. Ah, it's Elder Qing, please come in. Elder Pai quickly made a welcoming gesture after hearing Aunt Qing's identity. As for the tablet in her hand, he'd heard of it before. One look and he knew that it wasn't fake. I'm the head of the Hidden House Pai, and the people inside are Mr. Lin Yi's family and followers. Auntie Qing nodded and entered the villa with Old Man Pai. The people in the villa had heard their conversation outside. Hearing that it was an elder from the Ice Palace, everyone's face lit up with joy. But it didn't matter anymore since Linny was about to recover his strength. Once he recovered, Aunt Qing could go back. Hello Aunt Qing, I'm Mingyao. I've heard about you from Linny before. Thank you for taking care of him in Ice Palace. Mingyao had heard about Linny's experiences in Ice Palace, and she knew that Aunt Qing had put in a good word for him. Haha, it's just something I can do. Aunt Qing smiled casually. Where's Linny? I'll go check on him. It's like this, Linny is recovering his strength in his room. You'll have to wait for a while, Aunt Qing, Mingyao said quickly. Recover? Aunt Qing paused. Didn't his Dantian and meridians get destroyed? How can he recover? When Aunt Qing came here, Linny had just finished breaking through from Earth Class late phase peak to Sky Class early phase, and the surrounding chi had already entered Linny's body. She couldn't feel anything around him anymore, so she didn't know that Linny was breaking through. Linny's meridians and Dantian have been recovered with a special method, and Linny is now preparing to use the chi gathering pill that Zhao Qikuan brought back from your sect to break through to Sky Class early phase. Mingyao didn't hide anything. After all, it was the Ice Palace that gave it to her. What? Aunt Qing was shocked. You're saying that Linny used the pill and is preparing to break through to Sky Class? Yeah, what's wrong? Seeing the change in Aunt Qing's face, Mingyao's heart skipped a beat. It seemed like something was wrong. Hurry and stop him. Don't let him use the pill to break through, or the consequences will be unimaginable, Aunt Qing said quickly. The reason why she asked Mingyao to stop Linny was that she couldn't just barge around in Linny's villa. After all, Mingyao was more familiar with the layout of the villa. Mingyao didn't ask why and rushed to Linny's room. She didn't even knock and just pushed the door open. Yushu followed behind Mingyao and barged into Linny's room. Linny, don't use the chi gathering pill to break through. Mingyao stood at the door and shouted subconsciously. But after saying that, she looked up at Linny and realized that Linny was naked, sitting cross-legged on the bed. Mingyao couldn't help but scream. She blushed and wanted to turn around to leave, but she suddenly remembered that she was here to stop Linny from using the chi gathering pill. She stopped immediately. But in her heart, Mingyao was complaining. What was Linny doing? Why didn't he wear clothes when he was training? What's wrong, Yao sis? What happened to Shield Bro? Shu, who was following behind them, thought that Mingyao had seen something horrifying. She asked quickly, thinking that Mingyao had seen something terrifying. This? No. Nothing. Shu, go and see what happened to Linny. Mingyao blushed and stuttered. She didn't know what to say. At this moment, her heart was still beating wildly. She didn't dare to look at Linny's direction, but she couldn't just turn around and leave, so she could only ask Yushu to see what happened. Chapter 2976. Oh. When Yushu entered the room and saw the scene in the room, she froze. But compared to Mingyao, Yushu's face didn't even blush. She was just a little surprised. Holy shit. Shield Bro isn't wearing any clothes? But Shield Bro's muscles are still so toned. He's so handsome. Shu. I'll let you see how Linny looks. What's wrong with your face? Mingyao was a little annoyed. Why was Yushu admiring Linny's naked body at a time like this? Oh. Yushu walked over and looked at Linny's body carefully, including his private parts. Luckily, Yushu wasn't joking this time. Instead, she was incomparably serious, as if she was really checking if there was anything wrong with Linny. Although Mingyao was a little embarrassed, she didn't stop her. She only stared at Yushu's direction from the corner of her eyes, but she didn't dare to look straight at her. After a long time, Yushu came to a conclusion. There seemed to be nothing wrong with Linny, other than being naked. His body was perfectly fine. So she said, Yao sis, Shu can't see anything wrong with Shield Bro. But I've actually never seen other boys naked before, so I'm not sure if there's anything wrong with Shield Bro. Go to hell. Mingyao said angrily. Don't act like you're the one who got the advantage. Yao sis can look too, you're the one who didn't want to look, Yushu said. Aunt Qing had heard Mingyao scream and wanted to run over to see what was going on, but Yushu said that Linny wasn't wearing any clothes. Aunt Qing naturally didn't want to go and see what was going on, but she was very anxious. Now that she heard that there was nothing wrong with Linny's body, she couldn't help but wonder. There's nothing wrong with Linny's skin? Will it turn green and purple? And there are signs of it drying up? No. Yushu shook her head and said with certainty. That's strange. Could it be that he didn't eat the chi-gathering pill to break through? Aunt Ching thought about it and could only think of this possibility, so she shouted not far from the door, "Linny, I'm your Aunt Ching. I know you can hear me. Don't take the chi-gathering pill to break through. Otherwise, the consequences will be very serious." After that, Aunt Ching turned to Mengyao and Yushu. "All right, you guys can leave now. Don't disturb him, I've already told him." "All right." Mengyao listened to Aunt Ching's words. Although she was a little suspicious, it seemed like there was nothing wrong, so she finally relaxed. "Shoo, let's go." "But I haven't seen enough yet," Yushu said a little reluctantly. "Pervert, you can stay here if you keep looking." "I'm leaving," Mengyao said angrily. "Oh, then I'm leaving too." Although Yushu said that she was leaving, she looked back 3 times with every step. Mengyao was so angry that she kicked Yushu. "Go." As for what happened outside, Linny was actually very clear, but Linny was busy solving the problem he encountered at the moment. How could he have time to care about them? Linny also heard Aunt Ching's words, and he couldn't help but secretly smile bitterly. If she had come a step earlier, he wouldn't have been so unprepared. So for the conversation of the girls outside the door, Linny could only smile bitterly. However, Lin Yi's skin was indeed green and purple before, but Mengyao and Yushu didn't notice anything strange. In fact, it was because Linny found a solution. The feeling of suffocation made Linny very painful. Because of the lack of heaven and earth spiritual energy, Linny quickly entered the space of the jade pendant. In the outside world, there was no heaven and earth spiritual energy, but in the space of the jade pendant it was different. There was inexhaustible heaven and earth spiritual energy there. As expected, when Linny entered the space of the jade pendant, a large amount of pure energy rushed into Lin Yi's body, and then quickly nourished Lin Yi's meridians and dantian. Soon Lin Yi was pleasantly surprised to find that he had actually stabilized the strength of the early stage of heaven stage, just after breaking through to heaven stage. This miraculous speed made Lin Yi incomparably surprised, because Lin Yi heard that masters who broke through to heaven stage would have a period of unstable strength, especially when they used elixirs to break through. Old Zhao was an example, but Lin Yi found that this chi-gathering elixir didn't have this flaw, and it directly stabilized Lin Yi's strength. And when Lin Yi's strength stabilized, Lin Yi found that the state of the body's acupuncture points automatically absorbing heaven and earth spiritual energy stopped, and returned to normal. But when Lin Yi realized this, he didn't have the joy from before, and cold sweat broke out on his forehead. If he didn't have the space of the jade pendant, then he would have been in trouble before. This chi-gathering elixir seemed to be different from the chi-gathering elixir. After the chi-gathering elixir broke through, it would continue to absorb heaven and earth spiritual energy to stabilize the level of strength, but the chi-gathering elixir didn't have this process. Think about it, if Lin Yi didn't have the space of the jade pendant to absorb pure energy, where would Lin Yi absorb so much heaven and earth spiritual energy to stabilize his strength? Even if Lin Yi didn't use the space of the jade pendant to cultivate, and didn't take the chi-gathering elixir, the thin heaven and earth spiritual energy around his body was simply not enough to stabilize his strength. Lin Yi was sure that if he didn't absorb enough heaven and earth spiritual energy, he would have died from the lack of heaven and earth spiritual energy. In other words, if someone else had used this method to break through, it would have been very dangerous. They would have lost all their strength, and they would have lost their lives. Of course, Qikuan wouldn't harm him, and Qizhou probably didn't know about this. He was using the chi-gathering pill to break through from Earth class early phase to late phase peak, and he didn't need it to break through the level barrier. He probably didn't know about this. With that thought, Lin Yi secretly rejoiced. It seemed that the jade space had saved his life again. This golden finger. It was always helping him at the most critical moments. Sometimes Lin Yi would blame himself. He had the jade pendant, and yet his leveling speed wasn't as fast as Zhang Naipeo's. But now that he thought about it, he was the one who won in the end. Leveling fast didn't mean that he was the final winner. After stabilizing his strength, Lin Yi took out a new set of clothes from the wardrobe and put it on. But at that moment, Lin Yi had a feeling that something was wrong. It seemed like the last time he used the chi-gathering elixir to break through, someone came to see him, but what did he do after that? He seemed to have made a phone call, but who was he calling? Chapter 2977. Lin Yi didn't know why his memory became so bad sometimes, but now wasn't the time to think about this. Linny had to go out as soon as possible to reassure everyone. So Linny got up and pushed the door out of the room. Linny, how are you? What Linny didn't expect was that the first one to speak was Miss Meng Yao. Even Shu couldn't get it. Moreover, although there was a hint of blush on the Miss face, the deep concern in her eyes was irreplaceable, and it warmed Linny's heart. I'm fine. Linny shook his head and smiled at Meng, then turned to Aunt Qing. Aunt Qing, you're here. Linny, how are you? You didn't take the Michi gathering pill? Aunt Qing looked at Linny with some doubts, but Linny didn't use the mantra, and she couldn't see Linny's current strength. When she came before, Linny went into the space of the jade pendant to use the mantra, so she couldn't feel it from the outside world. Aunt Qing, don't forget, after I took the Qi gathering pill and broke through to the Earth class, I can continue to cultivate and upgrade, so after taking the Michi gathering pill, I'm naturally fine. Linny didn't say much about his special situation. After all, the matter of the space of the jade pendant was a secret. Fortunately, when Linny said this, Aunt Qing thought of Linny's abnormality and didn't ask much. Yes, you're amazing, you can't think with ordinary logic. Then now you're. Yes, I'm now in the early stage of heaven class. As Linny said this, he slightly used the mantra and revealed the strength of the early stage of heaven class. A look of astonishment flashed across Aunt Qing's face. Although she was very puzzled as to why Linny's meridians and dantian had been restored, and why nothing had happened to him after taking the Qi gathering pill, she didn't ask much. She just said, Congratulations. It seems like I came here for nothing. I should go back and report to Palace Master Bing and Vice Palace Master Feng. It's not superfluous. Linny thanks Aunt Qing for coming here to help. If Aunt Qing needs my help in the future, don't hesitate to ask. As long as I can do it, I won't hesitate. Linny had a very good impression of Aunt Qing. The first time he went to the Ice Palace, he was indebted to her care, so Linny always remembered it. Then Aunt Qing must remember this. If there really comes a day when I beg you, don't decline. Aunt Qing smiled and got up to leave. She wasn't the type to drag things out, and she was also an elder of an ancient sect. It wasn't good for her to stay in the common world for too long. If Linny was injured, then there was still an excuse. Now that Linny wasn't injured, she was naturally ready to leave. Aunt Qing, but I hope that you can keep the matter of my meridians and dantian recovering, and using the Qi gathering pill to break through a secret. Linny said solemnly. Don't worry about this. Your Aunt Qing and the Ice Palace Master aren't talkative people. Your Xiao Xiao won't betray you. Aunt Qing said with a smile. Okay, Aunt Qing, then I won't send you off. You know that I've just recovered and broken through, so it's not good for me to go out. Linny said. I understand. You don't have to send me off. I'll leave myself. With that, she turned and quickly left the villa. After she left, the living room of the villa became lively again. The happiest person was Zhao Qikuan. Boss, you've finally recovered. I feel a lot better now. Otherwise, I'd feel guilty for the rest of my life. Right, Linny, what was the problem that Elder Qing was talking about? Elder Pai asked curiously. It's nothing, actually. It's just the level barrier. I can't explain it in a few words, but don't use the Qi gathering pill as a pill to break through the level barrier. Linny said. We have you, boss, to level up. Why would we need pills? Chen Tian and the others smiled. Right, speaking of leveling up, Qikuan, come with me. I'll bring you up to Earth class late phase peak first. Linny said. Although the hidden house Xiao had screwed him over, it didn't have much to do with Qikuan. He was able to reach Sky class because of Qikuan, and Linny hadn't had the time to help Qikuan. Naturally, there was a chance now. Plus, Linny wasn't wearing any clothes, and it was a bit awkward for Meng Yao and Yushu to barge into the room. What? Earth class late phase peak? Qikuan froze. Boss, did I hear wrong? No, now that I'm a Sky class, I can bring you up to Earth class late phase peak. As for the small Qi gathering pills, they're useless now. If I had them, I could mass-produce Sky class masters. Linny said. God, boss, doesn't that mean we can break through to Earth class late phase peak as well? Chen Tian said, pleasantly surprised and envious. He envied Qikuan for being the first to level up, but he was also surprised that Linny wouldn't be left behind. That's right. Linny nodded and took a deep breath solemnly. Tonight will be the night everyone's strength will skyrocket. Tomorrow, we'll go to the hidden house Xiao for revenge. But as he said that, Lin Yi looked at Qikuan. Lin Yi wanted to see what Qikuan's reaction would be. As expected, Qikuan's face showed a complicated expression, but it quickly turned into decisiveness. "Boss, I'll go with you." Lin Yi nodded. It seemed that Qikuan was completely disappointed in the hidden house now. "Let's go, you come with me to the room first, the others guard outside." "Yes," everyone answered. Qikuan, on the other hand, followed Lin Yi into the room. The next morning when the sun rose, everyone in Lin Yi's villa, other than Elder Pai, had all become Earth-class late-phase peak. Even Elder Pai himself was an Earth-class late-phase peak spiritual practitioner, but his physical strength was already Sky-class, and Lin Yi couldn't level it up. Looking at the room full of quasi-Sky-class lackeys, Lin Yi felt a surge of emotions he had never felt before. This power was extremely strong in the ancient world, but it wasn't enough to make it into the ancient world. After all, Lin Yi didn't have any top masters here, and there were too few of them. They couldn't compare to the ancient sects. Chapter 2978. Early in the morning everyone had a good meal. Then Old Han called a minibus. Except for Wu Gonggao and Pai Zhihai, the rest of Lin Yi's underlings, including Old Han and Old Pai, all got on the minibus and headed towards the Hidden Zhao family. In the Hidden Zhao family, Old Zhao welcomed several very important guests today. These people were Old Yu of the Hidden Yu family, Jin Zhong of the Golden Bell sect, and Wu of the Qianshan sect. They came to the Hidden Zhao family today to discuss the second step of the plan to eliminate Lin Yi. The first step of the crusade against Lin Yi, the Hidden Zhao family, had been completed. Originally, everyone only needed to wait for Lin Yi's enemies to find trouble with Lin Yi and kill Lin Yi. However, after waiting for so long, Lin Yi's enemies came. But because of the intervention of the Heavenly Elixir sect, Lin Yi's enemies left. This made Old Zhao very upset. He thought that Lin Yi would die when he returned, but after waiting for a few days, there was no movement from Lin Yi's villa. Finally, Old Zhao became impatient. The Hidden Yu family, Golden Bell sect and Qianshan sect, who were also Lin Yi's enemies, were also impatient. So they arranged to meet at the Hidden Zhao family today to discuss the second step of the crusade against Lin Yi. Old Master Yu, Lin Yi ate the poison, and he's crippled, but no one is looking for trouble with him. This isn't a problem. Old Master Zhao waited for everyone to sit down and said straightforwardly. These people were all Lin Yi's enemies, and they all came with the same purpose. So there was no need for polite greetings and they just went straight to the point. It's all your Hidden Zhao family's fault. If you killed Lin Yi directly after he was poisoned, how could there be so many problems? Now Lin Yi's underlings have gathered here. It won't be easy to make a move. Old Master Yu snorted and complained. You can't blame us, the Hidden Zhao family. If you're so capable, why didn't you wait in front of our Zhao family and kill Lin Yi directly? Old Man Zhao pursed his lips. Isn't everyone worried that Lin Yi's lackeys from the primordial era will come looking for trouble? From the looks of it, none of Lin Yi's lackeys from the ancient sects are here. They're clearly unreliable. Gatemaster Jean said. But the two of you don't have to complain to each other. Previously, both of you were afraid of bearing the revenge of the ancient little brother alone. But now, since everything is fine, let's discuss how to kill Lin Yi. That's right. There won't be any results no matter how much we argue. Sect Master Wu nodded in agreement. I see that there is a way. The few of us can go to Lin Yi's house and kill Lin Yi. It's not impossible. Old Man Zhao said. Old Yu and I are both Heaven Stage Masters. As long as one of us restrains Old Man Pai and the other kills Lin Yi's lackeys, Gatemaster Wu will deal with the spirit beasts, and Gatemaster Jean can kill Lin Yi directly. This plan is not a problem. But are you sure one of you can restrain Old Man Pai and the other can kill Lin Yi's lackeys? Gatemaster Jin's job was relatively easy. He just had to kill Lin Yi the cripple. But if anything went wrong, he would be in trouble too. There can't be any problems. Old Man Zhao said. I will restrain Old Man Pai. There are still a few Heaven Stage Masters in the Yu family. Let's kill Lin Yi's lackeys together. It will be a one-sided massacre. That's a good idea. I still have to bring masters. Old Man Yu pouted. Those are the people from the Yu family. They won't come without any benefits. I will have to bleed a lot. Don't say that. Because of this plan, our Hidden Zhao family has given out 200 million. Do you guys bleed as much as I do? Old Man Zhao retorted. Alright, I agree with this plan. Old Man Yu thought about it and agreed. Zhao family paid a lot too, so he nodded and agreed. I have no problem too. Gate Master Wu was quite experienced in dealing with spirit beasts. He was thinking if he should knock out the purple lightning beast and then transport it back? After all, the purple lightning beast was their Qinshan sect's spirit beast. If he could bring back a few other spirit beasts, it would be a huge gain. If that's the case, then Old Man Yu will contact the masters in the family. Let's get ready to go. Old Man Zhao saw that everyone agreed and didn't have any objections. Just as he was about to leave, there was a hurried knock on the door of the conference room. Old Man Zhao frowned. He thought to himself, why are my disciples so unruly? Don't they know that I'm gathering the leaders of various hidden families and ordinary sects for a meeting? However, it wasn't good to be angry in front of outsiders. He could only ask patiently, who is it? What's the matter? Master, bad news, bad news. A hidden Zhao family's disciple shouted as he rushed into the conference room. What's bad? How can you make such a racket like this? I'm here. There's also Master Yu of the hidden Yu family, Gate Master Wu of the Qinshan sect, and Gate Master Jin of the Golden Bell sect. They are all first-class masters. Even if the sky falls, there will be people here. Why are you shouting? Old Man Zhao was completely angry. Isn't this a joke in front of outsiders? Yes, yes. The hidden Zhao family's disciple was in fear. He didn't dare to refute and could only say, Master, there's really a problem. What's the problem? Tell me. Old Man Zhao waved his hand and asked. There's no need for him to say it, I'll say it. An abrupt and familiar voice abruptly resounded, causing all the patriarchs and sect leaders present to instantly shiver, and they froze on the spot as if they had been struck by lightning. Lin Yi. Old Man Zhao was very familiar with this voice. Haha, it seems like Old Man Zhao is very familiar with my voice. I haven't even arrived and you already recognized me. Lin Yi's voice came from afar and finally appeared at the door of the conference room. However, Lin Yi came in a wheelchair, and the person pushing the wheelchair was Zhao Qikuan. Chapter 2979. Old Zhao, you really think that I've betrayed you? That's where you're wrong, very wrong. Qikuan said coldly. I'm just tricking you to protect boss and myself. Today I'm here for justice. Good, very good. Old Man Zhao nodded his head. I felt that there was something wrong with you. That's why I didn't give you the identity of the successor to the young patriarch, but sent you to the Ice Palace. Now that I look at it, it's as I expected, you are a traitor. Haha, say what you like, my intention to stay by boss side has never changed. Qikuan said. Indeed, say what you like. Do you think that you and that crippled Lin Yi can get justice? All of you will have to stay here today. Old Man Zhao laughed and said. Old Eugene and Wu found it strange as well. This Lin Yi was crippled, and he was here with Qikuan to get justice? Wasn't this just asking for death? No matter how he looked at them, they didn't look like people with mental problems. And so, with the mindset that something was wrong, old Eugene and Wu didn't stand out to say anything, choosing to observe the situation first. Old Zhao, do you really think that we're the only ones here today? Lin Yi spoke up at this time. He snapped his fingers and immediately Old Pai, Old Han, Pai Jishan, Wu Chuntian, Han Xiaopa, Zhuang Niaoqiang, and Zhuang Niapeo all rushed into the meeting room. I knew it, you two couldn't be so idiotic, you even brought helpers. Good plan. Old Zhao laughed coldly. If this was any other time, House Zhao really wouldn't be able to do anything to you. With Old Pai's sky class here, House Zhao would be turned upside down for sure. But today you really picked the wrong time. Do you know who these people are? You might not know Zhao Qikuan, but you should know Lin Yi, right? Old Master Yu, Sect Master Wu, Sect Master Jin, you are here too. Lin Yi said faintly. That's right, we're here to hold the second step of our crusade against Lin Yi. We were just about to go to your house to make a scene, but you guys took the initiative to come to us. This time I think you guys won't be able to return. Since you came looking for trouble, we'll wipe you out. Elder Pai, Elder Han, you two can die together. Elder Zhao laughed wildly. Ha 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 ha. Oh? Really? In that case, Old Master Yu, Sect Master Jin, and Sect Master Wu, are you all on Old Master Zhao's side and are ready to go against us? Lin Yi looked at Old Master Yu, Sect Master Jin, and Sect Master Wu with a faint smile. Of course, Old Master Yu, Gate Master Jean, and Gate Master Wu all nodded and answered. Oh, then I won't hold back. Lin Yi suddenly stood up from the wheelchair, channeling his practitioner's arts, and his sky-class early phase strength was revealed. Huh! Old Master Zhao was shocked. Ah! Sect Master Jean and Sect Master Wu were shocked. Old Master Yu, on the other hand, reacted the quickest. Naturally, that's impossible. I haven't finished yet. I support Lin Yi Qianbei. After all, Lin Yi Qianbei and my coiling tiger are classmates, and their relationship is quite good. So the reason I'm here today is to attack the Hidden House Zhao, and Old Master Zhao for poisoning Lin Yi. Really? Since when did I have a good relationship with coiling tiger? Lin Yi smiled as he looked at Old Master Yu. Why not? Coiling tiger often gives you treasures, did you forget? Those medicine cauldrons and alchemy materials? Old Master Yu said quickly. Oh, that seems to be the case. Lin Yi nodded. The main purpose of his visit today was to seek justice from the Hidden House Zhao. As for the others, Lin Yi wasn't prepared to make a big move. After all, the House Yu had the Heavenly Elixir sect as their backing. Lin Yi didn't want to touch them for the time being. The Heavenly Silkworm transformation helped Lin Yi once, and Lin Yi directly kicked out the hidden forces. This wasn't right no matter what. Yes, I also want to say that it's naturally impossible. Qinshan Sect Master Wu also said. Our Qinshan sect has always been on good terms with Qianbei Lin Yi. We have always been grateful to Qianbei Lin Yi for adopting our purple thunderstorm beast and solving our Qinshan sect's troubles. Otherwise, the purple thunderstorm beast would devour treasures in our sect all day long, and we wouldn't be able to do anything about it. It was Qianbei Lin Yi who adopted the spirit beast righteously and reduced our burden. So this time, I am just like Elder Yu, crusading against the Hidden House Zhao's vile behavior. Yes, our Golden Bell sect too. I am grateful to Qianbei Lin Yi's underling for killing Jin Wudi, that old thing. If he didn't die, how could I take over? So Qianbei Lin Yi is my benefactor. I also want to crusade against the Hidden House Zhao. Sect Master Jean quickly shouted. Old Man Zhao's face had already changed color. He had a deep understanding of the shamelessness of his three allies. What was called sailing with the wind, what was called sucking up to the powerful, these three displayed it to the fullest. Elder Yu, don't try to cut ties with him. You gave us the poison. Elder Zhao couldn't care less. In order to pull these three into his camp, he had to shed all pretenses. Well, weren't you the one who gave us the poison against the spirit beast? Jean, who agreed to kill Lin Yi just now. Treacherous and shameless to the extreme. Elder Zhao, don't spout nonsense. When did I give you the poison? We, the Hidden Yu family, do alchemy, not poison. Elder Yu immediately retorted. That's right, bullshit. If our Qinshan sect had poison against spirit beasts, why didn't we use it at the Hidden House Summit? Sect Master was said. However, it wasn't that he didn't use it at the Hidden House Summit, he didn't bring it. However, this became the best excuse for him to retort. Nonsense. Qianbei Lin Yi killed Jin Wudi and helped me take over. I can't even thank him enough. Why would I kill him? Sect Master Jean raged. You! Elder Zhao was so furious he nearly spat out blood. If these three were on his side, then they might have a chance of winning. But these three betrayed him. What good would the Zhao family have? Chapter 2980. Thinking of this, Old Master Zhao slumped on the chair and shivered in fear. He didn't have the demeanor and momentum that a heaven stage master should have. He pointed at Lin Yi while trembling. Impossible, impossible. You were poisoned, your dantian and meridians were destroyed. How could nothing happen to you? Who told you that I was destroyed? Who told you that I was poisoned? Lin Yi looked at Elder Zhao and asked teasingly. Oh right, that poison of yours was pretty tasty. It helped me break through to Sky Class after eating it. Really good stuff. Do you have more of it? Can you give me some more? No. Impossible. How is this possible? Could it be? Old Master Zhao suddenly turned his head and stared at Old Yu. Old Yu, you tricked me. That's not poison. It's a breakthrough medicine, right? Old Master Yu was also stunned. He thought, how is this possible? This poison was given by Heavenly Elixir sect. How could it be a breakthrough medicine? But Old Yu suddenly thought of something. When Lin Yi was in trouble, Heavenly Silkworm transformation personally solved the trouble from the Dark Night Palace. Could it be that there was an unspeakable secret between Heavenly Elixir Sect and Lin Yi? Although this medicine was given by Kong Mingming, Lin Yi's opponent, Kong Mingming was an alchemist. How much knowledge could he have? What did he know? Maybe he was tricked by Heavenly Silkworm transformation and didn't know. In that case, this poison might really be a scheme by Heavenly Elixir Sect. But no matter what, this was not something that Old Yu could participate in. Thinking that he actually participated in the plan to harm Lin Yi, he must be tired of living. Even his master, Heavenly Elixir Sect, helped Lin Yi and didn't want Lin Yi to die. It seemed that he had to make some appropriate adjustments to his Hidden Yu family's development plan. Thinking of this, Old Yu said faintly, "Yes, that's right. That is the breakthrough medicine. So what if I gave it? I've been playing infernal affairs. Motherfucker. You tricked me." Lord Zhao was so angry that his entire body was convulsing, unable to speak. On the other hand, Lin Yi looked at Old Yu with interest. He found it funny listening to Old Yu's words. Spies. But now it seemed that the poison was indeed given by the Hidden Yu family. "So the three of you are my allies?" Lin Yi looked at Old Man Yu, Sect Master Jin, and Sect Master Wa and asked deliberately. "That's true, but we don't dare to be allies. We're just running errands, little brothers on the periphery." "Old Master, you didn't dare to be arrogant." The current Lin Yi wasn't someone they could deal with. Lin Yi smiled and looked at them meaningfully. He said lightly, "If that's the case, then help me destroy the Hidden Zhao family. That saves me the trouble of doing it myself." Ah! Elder Yu was stunned after listening to Lin Yi's words. What? He wanted him to deal with the Hidden Zhao family? Old Man Zhao's face was also very ugly. He was very angry about Lin Yi dealing with the Hidden Zhao family, but there was nothing he could do. He could only threaten. "Old Man Yu, you have to think carefully. Don't fall into Lin Yi's trap. When you destroy our Hidden Zhao family, the ancient sects will definitely not let you go easily." "Is that so?" Old Man Yu quickly made a decision. Right now, if he didn't make a move, then Lin Yi would probably destroy them together. Old Man Yu knew how ruthless Lin Yi was. When he destroyed the secular house Yu, he didn't even blink and didn't care about the interference of the hidden houses. And now Lin Yi probably wouldn't care about the pressure from the ancient sections. Lin Yi and the ancient sects had been enemies a long time ago. The Everyday and Everyday sect, the Dark Palace, these were all Lin Yi's enemies, but Lin Yi was still alive and well. Before, Silkworm transformation had probably helped Lin Yi take care of the pressure from the Dark Palace. It was probably because Lin Yi was in isolation training and Silkworm transformation didn't want to disturb Lin Yi. Otherwise, with Lin Yi's current strength, he could totally kill that black-clothed elder from the Dark Palace. "Lin Qianbei, what should we do?" Headmaster Wa asked impatiently. "Other than old Zhao and Zhao Guangyin, kill all the core members. The servants who aren't strong, just dismiss them." Lin Yi said to Old Yu. As for old Zhao, Lin Yi took Qikuan's feelings into consideration. No matter what, he had to let Qikuan deal with him personally. As for Zhao Guangyin, Lin Yi thought that he was Qianxi's father. Lin Yi didn't want to kill him, but he couldn't escape punishment. Lin Yi would also destroy his meridians in Dantian, but Zhao Guangyin wouldn't recover so easily. He could only be a normal person for the rest of his life. Yes. When Old Man Yu and the others heard that they didn't have to deal with Old Man Zhao and Zhao Guangyin personally, they heaved a sigh of relief. If they were to deal with those small fries, they wouldn't feel any pressure. However, if they were to deal with Old Man Zhao, even a heaven stage expert like Old Man Yu would still be injured. After all, Old Yu was a refiner and he wasn't good at fighting. Headmaster Wa and Headmaster Jin, on the other hand, were weak, only Earth class. It was still quite stressful for them to face Old Zhao, who was a Sky class. If Old Zhao fought them to the death, then they, as Earth class, would be at a disadvantage. So they suspected that Lin Yi wanted them to die together, but now it seemed like that wasn't the case. Lin Yi planned to let them go this time, but he had to do something. After receiving the order, the three of them moved, running out of the meeting room to get rid of the core members of House Zhao. Old Zhao, on the other hand, sat on the chair, slumped. His eyes were dull, and he couldn't say a word. Qikuan sighed softly and looked at Old Zhao. "If you knew this would happen, why did you do it? If you really wanted the hidden House Zhao to serve you, you wouldn't have ended up like this, right?" I really don't understand what's so good about Zhao Qibing to make you do this. Zhao Qikuan, you traitor, don't say that. You know your own strength very well. Zhao Qibing is an Earth class early phase, and a disciple of the ancient sect Dark Palace. Who do you think you are? You're just a mystic middle phase peak. What right do you have to fight for the position of heir? Old Zhao finally said what he was thinking. Haha. Qikuan laughed at himself. So in your eyes there's only Zhao Qibing. He's just an Earth class early phase. Is he that strong in your eyes? Chapter 2981. He continued with a cold smile. Isn't it because you're relying on Lin Yi? You're right, I miscalculated. I didn't think that Lin Yi wouldn't be poisoned but instead broke through. So what? You're relying on him, and if anything happens to him, you'll be in trouble. You don't have your own strength, so what's the use? Alright, Earth class late phase peak is like a fart in your eyes. It seems like you've been a fart for years as well. Qikuan shook his head, disappointed in the old man. What did you say? Old Zhao paused. What Earth class late phase peak? Qikuan didn't reply and started channeling his practitioner's arts, revealing his Earth class late phase peak to the old man. Your Earth class late phase peak now? How is that possible? Old Zhao looked at Qikuan in shock. That's not possible. You were mystic middle phase peak before. How could you level up so fast? What kind of elixir did you use? I don't need to tell you that. Qikuan shook his head. You don't want me to be a part of House Zhao anyway. So what? You wouldn't dare kill me anymore. My grandson Zhao Qibing is a disciple of the ancient sect Dark Palace. If you kill me, Zhao Qibing will avenge me. Old Zhao saw that Lin Yi didn't kill him and thought that Lin Yi was afraid of the Dark Palace. If Zhao Qibing wants revenge, I'll welcome it any time. Kong Mingming said the same thing, but he watched his brother's fiancé be with me every day. You think he doesn't want to kill me? Lin Yi looked at old Zhao, amused. I'm not killing you, not because of Zhao Qibing, that Zhao Qibing. I'll deal with him when I have the time. I'm not killing you because you're Zhao Qikuan and Chanxi's grandpa. I don't want them to be sad, that's all. Naturally, Qikuan knew that Lin Yi was telling the truth in the test. Lin Yi even dared to kill a disciple of the everyday and everyday sect, let alone the family of a Dark Palace disciple. Qikuan was touched that Lin Yi could say that, after all, Lin Yi was still caring about his feelings. Boss, cripple him and keep his life. Send him abroad and let him be an ordinary rich man. He won't have to worry about food and clothing. This is my request. Qikuan hesitated but decided to say so. After all, he had cut ties with House Zhao, but he couldn't kill his grandpa. After all, old Zhao didn't have the heart to kill him with his own hands. This was Qikuan's final repayment. Sure. Lin Yi nodded. Lin Yi had planned to do so before. Lin Yi looked at Old Man Zhao and asked, Old Man Zhao, do you have anything else to say? What do I say? Will you let me go? Old Man Zhao said hatefully. No. Lin Yi shook his head. Then what's there to say? Old Man Zhao humphed coldly. Do it, Zhao Qibing will avenge me. Lin Yi frowned slightly as he reached out and tapped on Old Zhao's body a couple of times. Old Zhao screamed in pain as well. The pain Lin Yi had gone through a few days ago was on him as well. Qikuan turned his head away, not looking at Old Man Zhao. After Lin Yi made his move, Qikuan took a deep breath and looked at Old Man Zhao. Grandpa, this is the last time I'll call you Grandpa. If you're smart, take the money from House Zhao and live the rest of your life abroad. Don't come back. This world doesn't belong to you anymore. I don't need you to mind my business. You're such a hypocrite. Old Man Zhao humphed coldly, gritting his teeth. Qikuan sighed softly and didn't say anything else. Wu Chentian, you're from the common world House Wu. You have a lot of connections. Arrange for Old Man Zhao to go abroad. Lin Yi turned to Chentian. Yes, boss. Chentian nodded. I'll arrange it for him. Old Man Zhao, a sky-class master, the powerful hidden House Zhao. All of this would become a thing of the past, a memory. Zhao Qikuan, are you willing to take over the hidden House Zhao? Lin Yi asked. After all, after Old Man Zhao left, the hidden House Zhao still had a spot in the hidden house. With Lin Yi, Old Man Han, Old Man Pai, Old Man Zhuang, and even Old Man Yu, Master Jean and Master with support, Zhao Qikuan might be weak, but he'd be able to hold his own. No, boss, thank you for your good intentions. Let this sad family become history. I'll follow you from now on. Qikuan shook his head, rejecting Lin Yi's suggestion. Lin Yi nodded, not forcing the issue. While they were talking, Sect Master were returned with a trembling woman and a child in his hands. Senior Lin, this woman is the wife of the hidden house Zhao Guangyin, and this is his son. But this woman said that she's the aunt of your little brother and your old friend, and she doesn't want me to kill her. Wu didn't dare make the decision after hearing the woman's words. He brought the woman to Lin Yi, preparing to ask Lin Yi for his opinion. Yu Xiaojin. Lin Yi knew about the marriage between the hidden house Yu and House Zhao, and so when Wu brought it up, he immediately knew who this woman was. She was Yu Bing and Yu Ning's aunt. Yes, Senior Lin. I'm Yu Ning and Yu Bing's aunt, and I'm in the hidden house Zhao. I'm very pitiful right now, being ignored by Zhao Guangyin. I have nothing to do with them. Please don't kill me and the child. Xiaojin no longer had the aura of a mistress. She was just a pitiful woman who wanted to live. Wu had killed 2 of House Zhao's core disciples right in front of her, and it had completely destroyed her. She didn't even know what to say in front of Lin Yi, the mastermind behind all of this. Send her back to the hidden house Yu. Lin Yi waved his hand, not wanting to talk too much to Xiaojin. He'd just take it as giving face to Yu Ning and Yu Bing. He'd also take it as Yu Yi's sudden appearance as a favor to House Yu. Yes, Wu's attitude towards Xiaojin was much better after receiving the order. Let's go, Miss Yu. I'll get someone to send you back to the hidden house Yu. All right. Thank you, Senior Lin. Xiaojin said with reverence. She naturally understood the situation in front of her. Lin Yi was the one giving the orders, and so she quickly thanked him. Chapter 2982. Zhao Guangyin. Lin Yi looked at Elder Yu and frowned. Yes, according to the Zhao family's disciples, when Elder Lin and the others entered the Zhao family's villa, Zhao Guangyin was escorted by Elder Mian and left the hidden Zhao family through the back door. It's been more than half an hour now. I've searched the back mountain and haven't found anyone. Elder Yu quickly said. One ran away. Lin Yi was taken aback. He didn't expect Zhao Guangyin to run away so fast. The reason why Lin Yi came to the hidden house in a wheelchair and didn't let Elder Pai and the others get off first was to confuse the hidden house and make them think that he didn't have the ability to take down the hidden house and that he was here to die. In fact, Elder Zhao did think so before, and because Elder Yu, Gate Master Wu, and Gate Master Jin were here, he felt that Lin Yi and the others wouldn't be able to return. But this Zhao Guangyin was a genius. The situation was clearly in the hidden house's favor, but he still ran away. It seemed that Zhao Guangyin wasn't as cowardly as Lin Yi thought. Yes, Senior Lin, when you entered the hidden house, Zhao Guangyin ran away with Elder Mian. Elder Yu said, what do we do now? We definitely won't be able to catch up to them because I don't know where they ran to. Let's not care about him for now and get rid of the others first. When Lin Yi heard that Zhao Guangyin ran away, he didn't know why, but he had a bad feeling in his heart. He felt that something bad was going to happen, but he couldn't think of any bad consequences. After all, Zhao Guangyin was only an Earth-class master. Even Zhao Qibing, a disciple of the ancient sect, Dark Palace, wasn't afraid of him. What kind of trouble could Zhao Guangyin cause? However, the dispirited old master Zhao, who was sitting in his seat, suddenly laughed out loud when he heard that Zhao Guangyin had run away. Zhao Guangyin, you're really something. You didn't call me when you left. It's been so many years, and you've even lied to your old man. At this moment, old Master Zhao probably understood that Zhao Guangyin's previous lack of an opinion was just an act. Because old Master Zhao was too strong, too egotistical, and too greedy for power, he forcibly occupied the position of family head and never gave it up. As the young family head, Zhao Guangyin could only do this to protect himself. At the crucial moment, Zhao Guangyin's wisdom was revealed. Zhao Guangyin was obviously smarter than old man Zhao. He had been guarding against Lin Yi. When he saw Lin Yi and the others coming, he knew that it was not a good thing, so he ran away immediately. However, after old Master Zhao complained, he laughed happily again. Good, very good, finally one escaped. Lin Yi, it is impossible for you to destroy our hidden Zhao family. I didn't want to destroy your family in the first place. Isn't Zhao Qikuan still alive and well? Lin Yi looked at old Master Zhao, deep in thought. It seemed like old Master Zhao was agitated, and he was losing his mind. This was understandable. Life was full of ups and downs, and the winner who had the upper hand lost in the blink of an eye. Soon Old Master Yu, Sect Master Wa, and Sect Master Jin returned. Most of the servants and non-core disciples of the Zhao family were dismissed. As for the stubborn loyal disciples and core disciples, they all became ghosts under the hands of these three people. Although these three weren't very strong, it was as easy as killing chickens for them to deal with the ordinary disciples of the hidden Zhao family. Senior Lin, we've done what you asked us to do. Can we go now? Old Master Yu asked. Go? No rush, since you all worship me so much. Let's take a picture at the entrance of the hidden Zhao family. Just nice, the disabled old Master Zhao can be our foil. Lin said. Take a picture? Old Master Yu froze and then his face turned ugly. How could he not know what Lin meant? Now that the hidden Zhao family was destroyed, if they left and started a rumor, Lin might cause some trouble. After all, Lin couldn't surpass the ancient level yet. If the ancient level questioned him, it wouldn't be easy for Lin to deal with it. However, now that Lin had dragged old Yu, Gatemaster Jin, and Gatemaster Wa to take a group photo in front of the disabled old Zhao, it meant that today's matter had a lot to do with them. Unless the three of them were out of their minds, no one would bring up these things for no reason. Even if old Master Zhao found the ancient sects and said that Lin destroyed the hidden Zhao family, they would stand up and testify that Lin didn't do it. How can we prove our friendship if we don't take a picture? Lin asked indifferently. This okay, take a picture then take a picture. Old Master Yu nodded helplessly. Therefore, Old Master Yu, Headmaster Jin, and Headmaster Wa all accompanied Lin and stood in front of Old Master Zhao to take a picture. Although the three of them weren't very happy, they could only force a smile to cater to Lin. After all, they were afraid of death. After taking this picture, Lin waved his hand and said, Okay, you can go. When you go back, behave yourself. Don't think about useless things. Otherwise, it won't be good for you. Got it, Senior Lin. We will behave ourselves after we go back. Old Master Yu and the other two said quickly. Lin nodded and left the hidden house Zhao with a group of his lackeys. A big house that had been bustling with noise and excitement suddenly became very quiet. People were dead and people were gone. Of course, the aftermath would be handled by Elder Han. After all, the matters of the hidden house level weren't something normal people could interfere with. But just when Lin was about to go home to celebrate, Lin's phone rang. A normal ringtone was something normal to Lin, but for some reason, Lin felt a little scared this time. He looked at the caller ID. It was Ziyu. Lin was confused and quickly picked up the phone. Ziyu? What's wrong? Lin, bro, it's bad. Your little lover's been kidnapped. Ziyu yelled through the phone. What little lover? Lin paused, not understanding what Ziyu was saying. It's Lilshi got kidnapped. Ziyu said. Chapter 2983. I don't know who it was, but in class today, the teacher said that she's father came looking for her, so she went out and never came back. Ziyu said. It's already lunch break, and there's no news, so I called you. Chun-Shi's father? Zhao Guangyin? Lin connected the two immediately. Could it be that Zhao Guangyin had kidnapped Chun-Shi after coming out of the hidden house Zhao, using her as a bargaining chip to force him to let go of the hidden house Zhao? That was the only possibility he could think of, but Zhao Guangyin had already gotten his hands on Chun-Shi and didn't call him to tell him anything. What was the reason for that? Didn't Zhao Guangyin know that time was money? The longer he stayed in the hidden Zhao family, the more danger they would face. Now that the hidden Zhao family's core disciples and people were all dead, he still didn't make a move. This didn't make sense. Could it be that he took Chun-Shi away for some other purpose? But worrying about it now was pointless. Guangyin and Elder Mian were both practitioners and Earth class at that. It would be a piece of cake for them to hide. Even if Lin asked Lingshan to help him search for them, it wouldn't be of any use. With that thought, Lin comforted her. Ziyu, don't worry, it's her father who kidnapped her. I'll take care of this, just be careful. Okay, I understand. Lin, bro, you have to get Ziyu back as soon as possible. What if something happens to her? Ziyu said. Ziyu, don't worry, I'm worried too. Lin nodded. After hanging up, Lin told everyone about Guangyin kidnapping Chun-Shi, but they were all confused. They didn't know why Guangyin would kidnap Chun-Shi. If he wanted to threaten Lin, wouldn't it be better to kidnap Ziyu as well? Although he couldn't figure it out, Lin still dialed Boss Zhu's number immediately. Chanxi's safety had always been Boss Zhu's responsibility, but when Lin Yi's call connected, no one picked up for a long time. Lin Yi frowned. It seemed that something had happened to Boss Zhu. He didn't know if he was in danger or not. Did you see second Boss Zhu? No. Han Tianba knew Zhu Lauer, but he didn't see him among the previous people. He didn't pay much attention to him at that time, but now that he thought about it, he realized something was wrong. Lin Yi nodded, his face serious. Either the second and Boss Zhu were still with Chanxi, or the second and Boss Zhu had been exposed. But now, it seemed that the possibility of being exposed was higher. Otherwise, Boss Zhu wouldn't have ignored the call. Mr. Lin, Elder Pai and I have mobilized our family's power to search for Zhao Guangyin's whereabouts. You should also contact Elder Zhuang. After all, the hidden houses have some power, Han Tianba said, seeing Lin Yi frown. That's the only way. Lin Yi nodded and dialed Gu Xian's number. Gu Xian was the go-to person in the cultivation world. He should have a way to get information about Zhao Guangyin. Of course, the premise was that Zhao Guangyin was still in the cultivation world. If he went into hiding, then no one could do anything. Boss. Gu Xian picked up Lin Yi's call. Boss, I was just about to call you. I heard that your meridians and energy center are all destroyed. This news had already spread throughout the ancient times. What exactly was going on? You didn't mention this when you called me before. It's okay. I'm fine. Don't worry. Lin Yi said. I called you this time because I want you to help me find out about two people. One is called Zhao Guangyin, the young master of the hidden Zhao family. The other is called Chanxi, Zhao Guangyin's illegitimate daughter. Oh? Okay, boss. I'll remember it. If they appear in the cultivation world, I should be able to find out about them. Gu Xian nodded. He didn't ask for the reason. After seeing these two, should I capture them first or? If possible, it's best to find out what they're up to and track them. Capturing them is good, but I'm afraid you're not Zhao Guangyin's match. Your strength is about the same. Lin Yi said. That's fine. If I'm alone, I'll find out where they are first. I'll make a move when I have enough people. Gu Xian said. Alright, I'll leave this to you. Lin Yi said. At the moment they could only wait for further news. This made Lin Yi's good mood a little gloomy. The others saw how bad Lin Yi's face was and naturally, they didn't dare mention anything about celebrating. Zhao Qikuan felt guilty. This was all because of his old family, the hidden house Zhao. On a dilapidated national highway, an inconspicuous old Mitsubishi Pajero SUV was speeding along at high speed. The car was nondescript and old, but it was moving very fast. In other words, the driver was an excellent racer. And he was a one-armed man. That's right, this one-armed man was Zhao Qibing. His driving skills were quite good. Even if he was missing an arm, it didn't affect his driving skills at all. There were 3 people in the car. They were Zhao Guangyin, Elder Mian, and the unconscious Chan Shi. Qibing, is this really okay? This is our hidden house Zhao's last chance to rise again. Zhao Guangyin said worriedly. Dad, don't worry. I've already contacted Elder Kong Mingming of the Sky Elixir sect. He said that when the young master of the Sky Elixir sect practices Sky Silkworm transformation, he'll find some girls to be his cauldrons and suck them dry, turning it into his own pure qi. He used to have a servant called Sky Butterfly, but she was all sucked to death by him. Zhao Qibing said with certainty. Chanxi is a good cauldron body. When Sky Silkworm transformation is happy, he'll definitely give us a lot of benefits. Even if you join the Sky Elixir sect, it wouldn't be a problem. We'll be father and son in the Sky Elixir sect in Dark Palace. When we rebuild the hidden house, we'll see if that Lin Yi still dares to mess with us. HM. That's the only way. Guangyin nodded and sighed. I'm afraid your grandfather's done for. Chapter 2984. Man, at the end of the day, he's still my father, your grandpa. We're leaving him like this, I feel bad. Guangyin was a little down. Dad, think about it. It's been so many years. How did he treat you? How did he treat me? Even Zhao Qikuan, how did he treat him? Is there family in his eyes? He chose you because you're his puppet. You don't have a mind of your own, so he can still control House Zhao. He chose me because I helped him level up, made him into Sky Class. Zhao Qikuan, on the other hand, hated Lin Yi, so he always made things difficult for him. Zhao Qibing curled his lips and said nonchalantly, If we want to deal with Lin Yi, we need someone else to do it. Now that the opportunity is right in front of us, we'd be idiots if we don't grab it. Man, I know that your grandpa wouldn't have believed me even if I told him. Who knows, I might have been left behind as well. Guangyin knew Elder Zhao's temperament. If he told Elder Zhao that Lin Yi might have recovered and come back for revenge, would he have believed him? If it weren't for the fact that Zhao Qibing had just come back to visit his family and heard that Lin Yi was here for revenge, out of fear for Lin Yi, Zhao Qibing would have brought Zhao Guangyin and Elder Mian to run for their lives. Elder Mian ran with them because he was smarter than Elder Bai. He knew exactly how Elder Bai had died. Lin Yi had killed him, and he didn't want to follow in Elder Bai's footsteps. Right, that's why I didn't want to tell that old guy. Qibing said. Dad, don't be too saddened. There'll be more chances for revenge. When we come back, that Lin Yi will die. No matter how strong that Lin Yi was, how could he be a match for the ancient sex? Didn't you see how powerful the black-clothed elder of Dark Palace was in front of Lin Yi? He was just an Earth-class master, but old Pai, a Sky-class master, didn't dare to make a move. If not for the heavenly silkworm transformation's interference, Lin Yi's family would have been ruined. That's true. Zhao Guangyin nodded. The hidden plane was a very powerful existence in the secular world, but in the face of the ancient plane it was nothing. But he was a little worried. Oh right. Isn't there a grudge between the Dark Knight Palace and the Heavenly Elixir sect? It won't be a problem for us to visit the Heavenly Silkworm transformation so rashly, right? Haha. Haven't you heard of this saying? There are no eternal enemies in front of benefits. Let's place this top-notch cultivation vessel in front of the Heavenly Silkworm transformation. What hatred is there? Qibing waved his hand. Plus, I'm a core disciple of the Dark Palace. They have to give face to the ancient level. I hope so. Zhao Guangyin nodded. But I really didn't expect Big Zhu and Second Zhu to be Lin Yi's people. They wanted to steal Qian Shi from us at such a critical moment. Luckily, the three of us are Earth-class masters and subdued them. Otherwise, the plan wouldn't have been able to proceed. Actually, when I caught Yuning last time, Lin Yi came looking for me. I felt that something was wrong and started suspecting the Second Zhu, but I didn't have any evidence. I was on guard this time, but I didn't expect it to really be them. Qibing humphed coldly. If it wasn't for the urgency, I would have killed them to vent my anger. This time we're all on the same side. Once we reach the Heavenly Elixir sect, there won't be any Lin Yi spies around us. We'll be completely free from Lin Yi's shadow. Elder Mian nodded. In the Heavenly Elixir sect, Kong Xiaoming was sitting in Tian Chan's room. He carefully smiled. Ever since Ancestor Xianchen told him that although he had a relationship with Xianchen, he had to maintain a good relationship with Tian Chan, Kong Xiaoming began to deliberately flatter Tian Chan. Because he could see that if he wanted to have the right to speak here, relying on the Xianchen ancestor wasn't enough. Tian Chan would give face to the Xianchen ancestor, but she wouldn't give face to him, Kong Ming. Little Ming, what's the matter? Tian Chan could naturally see that Kong Ming was a fickle person, but how smart was Tian Chan? She had been sitting in the position of the young master with the identity of Tian Chan. She couldn't show her emotions on her face. Young Master Tian, I heard that your practice requires a few girls with excellent physiques as a furnace? Kong Ming acted first and reported later because he felt that this matter was in the bag. Oh? Who did you hear this from? Tian Chan asked expressionlessly. In this sect, the elders with some status all know that your previous maid Tian Dai. Isn't she a good furnace? Kong Xiaoming said carefully. Oh, so what? Tian Chan nodded. For the sake of the Xianchen ancestors' plan, she had indeed disguised herself as a vicious and lecherous young master. As for Tian Dai, Tian Chan had announced to the public that she had been used as a furnace to cultivate to death. I heard that these years, young Master Tian has been looking for another good furnace to replace Tian Dai. Kong Ming saw that Tian Chan didn't show any displeasure, but confirmed his words, so he was relieved and continued to ask. That's right. How can it be so easy to find a furnace? Why are you asking this? Tian Chan didn't even look for a furnace. She said that she was looking for a furnace, but that was just a cover. Whether or not she found one, wasn't it up to Tian Chan to decide? Young master, there's a perfect furnace in front of you right now. What do you think? Kong Ming finally let out a sigh of relief. Seemed like he had done a great job this time. What perfect cauldron! You're saying you're a furnace? Tianchan paused and looked at Kong Mingming strangely. Aren't you a guy? Are you actually Kong bro? Of course not. Kong Mingming felt a little awkward after hearing Tianchan's words. He quickly explained. It's like this. Zhao Qibing, a core disciple of the Dark Palace, has sent you a perfect furnace for your cultivation. He's on the way now. Zhao Qibing from the Dark Palace? Tianchan was a little annoyed at Kong Mingming for being a busybody, but she couldn't reject him on the surface. She could only pretend to be happy. Oh? Didn't I just teach him a lesson? Why is he sending me a furnace now? Is there something wrong with this? I can guarantee that there's no problem. Kong Mingming shook his head and said with certainty. Chapter 2985. This is what happened. That Lin Yi ignored the restrictions of the ancient sects and destroyed the hidden house Zhao. Zhao Qibing went back to visit his family and ran away with his father. He wanted us to take his father in, so he gave his sister, Zhao Guangyin's daughter, to you as a cultivation vessel. What? The cultivation vessel is Zhao Guangyin's daughter, Zhao Qibing's sister? They're willing to do that? Tianchan felt that this was so weird. Of course, she's an illegitimate daughter, no feelings. Most importantly, she's Lin Yi's godsister. The love sister type. Kong Mingming explained with a sinister smile. They think that if this girl is harmed by the young master, Lin Yi will definitely go crazy, but they won't dare to reason with you, young master. This way, Zhao Qibing will see Lin Yi hurt, and he'll be taking revenge for the hidden house Zhao. Lin Yi's love sister? Tianchan's face changed slightly, becoming a little unnatural, but she quickly covered it up. If that's the case, bring her to me. Yes. Kong Mingming was overjoyed when he heard the agreement. They'll be here soon. I'll bring them to you as soon as possible. After Kong Mingming left, Tianchan fell into deep thought. Her face changed again and again, as if she was having a mental battle. But finally, a flash of decisiveness appeared on Tianchan's face as she made a decision. Qibing drove the car to the airport of a nearby city and boarded a private jet. This was the secret property of the hidden house Zhao's, and the registered name of the plane had nothing to do with the hidden house at all, but it belonged to them in the dark. The plane flew straight to the Sky Elixir sect, and quickly landed at the airport of the city closest to Sky Elixir. There was already a car arranged by Kong Mingming, and with Silkworm's permission, Kong Mingming used the resources of Sky Elixir sect. The car quickly brought Zhao Qibing, Zhao Guangyin, Elder Mian, and Chan Xian to Sky Elixir sect. In the guest room, they saw Kong Mingming waiting for them. Elder Kong, how have you been? I've missed you so much since we last met. Zhao Qibing had worked with Kong Mingming to kill Lin Yi, but he was the leader at that time. Now, he had to respect Kong Mingming as his big brother. I've talked to the young master about you guys, Zhao Qibing said. Kong Mingming didn't exchange pleasantries with Zhao Qibing. Zhao Qibing was just a normal core disciple of Dark Palace, and he was an elder of Sky Elixir sect. There was a huge gap between their statuses, and naturally Kong Mingming had to put on airs. You've brought them here, right? Yes. Zhao Guangyin quickly waved at Elder Mian. And Elder Mian placed the unconscious Chan Xi on the ground in front of Kong Mingming. TSK, a little beauty, the young master will definitely like her. Kong Mingming looked at Chan Xi's face very satisfied. If Chan Xi's looks were all over the place, he wouldn't be interested in Silkworm no matter how good of a furnace she was. That's good, that's good. Zhao Guangyin breathed in relief. It seemed like it was done. I'll bring you to the young master, you'll know what to say then, right? Some things can be said, some things can't be said, so don't speak thoughtlessly. If you piss off the young master, you'll be in for it. Kong Mingming warned. Don't worry, Elder Kong. I'm someone who's been in Dark Palace for a long time. I know the rules, Zhao Qibing said quickly. Kong Xiaoming nodded and led the Zhaos to the Silkworm Transformations room. After Little Peach informed them, they entered without a hitch. Young Master, Hidden House Zhao Qibing, Zhao Guangyin Mian Huqing, and Furnace Chan Xi are all here. Kong Mingming introduced them one by one to Silkworm Transformation. And Zhao Qibing, I didn't think we'd meet again. Tianchan looked at Zhao Qibing and asked. You're too courteous, young Master Tian. I've offended you last time. I'm here to apologize, young Master Tian. Zhao Qibing didn't see anything amiss. After all, back in Lin Yi's villa, he didn't dare look at silkworm transformation directly. Even now, he didn't dare look at it directly, so he didn't realize that the two silkworm transformations weren't the same person. Of course, unless it was someone from the Sky Elixir sect, outsiders wouldn't be able to tell the difference between Tianchan and Tiandai. Oh, so that's how it is. Tianchan glanced at Chanxi on the ground and asked, "This is the cultivation vessel you gave me?" "That's right." Zhao Qibing said quickly, "She's a great furnace, but because House Zhao doesn't have a suitable method, we can only use normal methods to train her. Young master, you can train her a bit and she'll become a great furnace." "Oh, I heard that this is your sister Lin Yi's lover?" Tianchan nodded. "Yes." Zhao Qibing nodded. "But don't worry, young master, she's still a virgin, she's definitely still a virgin." "I can see that, you don't need to tell me." Tianchan waved her hand. "Alright, I know your goal, little Ming told me already. How about this, Zhao Guangyin, you and Mianhua stay here and train with Elder Kong Ming. "Yes. Thank you, young master." Zhao Qibing was overjoyed. Kong Ming was someone he knew, and following him would give him hope for revenge in the future. Kong Ming was also Lin Yi's enemy, so they could work together. Tianchan saw Zhao Qibing's expression. How could she not know what he was thinking? But putting all of Lin Yi's enemies together meant that Tianchan could keep an eye on them. Poor Zhao Qibing and Zhao Guangyin, they didn't know any of this at all. They were still immersed in the great hidden House Zhao's revival plan, dreaming of the day when they could borrow the power of Sky Elixir to revive the hidden House Zhao and kill Lin Yi. They didn't know that Tianchan was just controlling them. "Little Ming, take them to rest, I'll talk to this furnace alone." Tianchan gestured for Kong Ming to leave. "Yes, young master." Kong Ming quickly nodded and gestured for Zhao Qibing and the others to leave. Since Silkworm Change had spoken, Kong Ming could arrange for Zhao Guangyin and Mianhua to be part of his team. Chapter 2986. After Kong Xiaoming left with Zhao Qibing and the others, Tianchan carried Chanxi and entered her own secret room. This secret room had a formation set up by a master. Even if it was a sky-class master, they wouldn't be able to hear what was going on inside. After entering the room, Tianchan reached out and massaged Chanxi's body, and Chanxi slowly woke up. Opening her eyes, Chanxi looked at the unfamiliar environment and the unfamiliar people in front of her. She didn't scream but subconsciously shrunk her body. Chanxi thought that she was ridiculous. Her own father had hurt her once, and she was stupid enough to trust him and see him again. She thought that she was safe in the school, and with Zhu Lao's protection, her father Zhao Guangyin couldn't do anything to her. But how could she know that Zhu Lao had been knocked out by Zhao Guangyin, Elder Mian, and Zhao Qibing? Not long after she came out, she was knocked out by her own father and taken away. Therefore, since the other party woke her up, it meant that she was brought to a place where the other party felt safe, which also meant that it was the other party's territory. Her shouting here was useless. Although Chanxi was young, she still understood these principles. She could only blame herself for being naive, thinking that her father was her father and couldn't hurt her. She didn't think that he would hurt her again. "You're awake." Tianchan looked at the delicate girl in front of her. She was cute, but was she Lin Yi's lover? Lin Yi had a tendency to like Lolis? That Yang Qiqi was also the petite type. "You are? Where is this place?" She didn't see her father and the others. She looked at the handsome man in front of her, confused. "Am I handsome?" Tianchan smiled at Chanxi. Ah! Chanxi froze. She didn't think that this handsome man would ask this question. She didn't know what it was, but she nodded honestly. "You're pretty handsome. Then do you want to be my woman?" Tianchan nodded and continued to ask. Her voice was very warm, making people feel comfortable. Chanxi shook her head. "No." "Why?" Tianchan asked with interest. Because I already have someone I like." Chanxi saw that Sky Silkworm had become very amiable and didn't look fierce, so she dared to speak some truth. "Oh, then I'll go kill him," Tianchan said faintly. "Isn't that good?" "No." Chanxi was shocked and quickly shook her head. I was actually lying to you, I don't have anyone I like." Are you Lin Yi's little girlfriend?" Tianchan changed the topic and asked. Chanxi was stunned. She didn't think that the person in front of her actually knew Lin Yi. Then those words before. He must have been deliberately asked. I was just joking with you, I'm actually Lin Yi's friend. Tian Chan sighed slightly in her heart. It seemed that Chan Shi and Lin Yi really had a relationship. Really? Chan Shi looked at Tian Chan with some vigilance, as if she didn't believe her words. To be honest, I'm the young master of the Heavenly Elixir sect. You were sent by your father and brother to be my cultivation furnace. To put it bluntly, you are my personal property. I can do whatever I want with you. Tian Chan said. Since I told you so much, I actually want you to know that I have no ill intentions towards you. Really? Chen Shi felt that the person in front of her didn't seem to be lying to her. Then, can you let me go? No. Tian Chan shook her head decisively and said, if I let you go, your father and brother will capture you again and offer you to someone else as a cultivation furnace. At that time it won't be as easy as it is now. Do you understand what I mean? Oh. Chan Shi nodded. What Tian Chan said was not unreasonable. If she really was a bargaining chip offered by her father for glory, then if she went back, they would definitely capture her again. Then what should I do? Stay by my side, be a maid. I will teach you the best cultivation method to become a cultivation furnace. Don't use your previous cultivation method, Tian Chan said. Then I have to become a cultivation furnace to be used by others? Chan Shi was slightly stunned, not understanding what Tian Chan meant. What if this person is Lin Yi? Tian Chan smiled slightly. Do you want to become someone who can help him? Yes. Chan Shi nodded shyly. One had to say Tian Chan's words hit the nail on the head. Becoming someone who could help Lin Yi made Chan Shi really happy. After all, Ziyu had always instilled in her that the girls around Lin Yi all had their own specialties, and she didn't have much of an advantage over them. All she had to do was act cute or seduce, but Chan Shi wasn't good at any of that. Now that Tian Chan was giving her a chance to help Lin Yi, of course she was moved. From now on, your name will be Tian Shi, and you will be my personal maid. But don't tell anyone about this. You will only be responsible for me, understood? Tian Chan said. Yes, don't worry, I won't trust my father or anyone else anymore. Chan Shi nodded, a little embarrassed. But, your personal maid. Tian Chan smiled faintly and turned around. It was unknown how she did it, but she wiped her face a few times. Then her beautiful hair scattered over her shoulders. She turned around and became a gentle and beautiful woman. You're a girl? Chan Shi's eyes were wide open. If she still couldn't tell that this was a girl, then her eyes must have had problems. That's right, but can you keep this a secret for me? Including Lin Yi? Tian Chan nodded. Yes, don't worry, sis. I'll keep this a secret for sure. Chan Shi nodded hard. She didn't know why, but she felt that Tian Chan was very trustworthy. It gave her a sense of security. Tian Chan, on the other hand, didn't know why she would show her true face in front of Chan Shi. Perhaps she was Lin Yi's lover? Tian Chan felt that she could trust her. From now on, in front of me, call me young master. My name to outsiders is Sky Silkworm Transformation. Tian Chan said. Don't give yourself away in front of outsiders. Yes. Chan Shi nodded. But after some hesitation she asked weakly, Young master, can I contact Lin Yi bro? Chapter 2987. And I got it. Chan Shi nodded obediently. Then you have to tell Lin Yi bro he'll be worried. Don't worry, I will help you convey it. Tian Chan said. Chan Shi was relieved. After arranging a place for Chan Shi to rest, Tian Chan fell into deep thought. With Zhao Guangyin's arrival at the Heavenly Elixir sect, the news of Lin Yi advancing to the early stage of Heaven stage, and flattening the hidden Zhao family also spread. Tian Chan was very surprised. Lin Yi was actually fine? And he even broke through to the early stage of Heaven stage? Before, Tian Dai saw with her own eyes how serious Lin Yi's injuries were. Could it be that all of this was an act by Lin Yi? Tian Chan really couldn't figure it out. How did Lin Yi recover from his injuries when his meridians and dantian were all destroyed, and he couldn't even use the mantra? However, although Tian Chan couldn't figure it out, she was really relieved. That's right, how could the man she paid attention to fall so easily? Whether he had the ability to recover or it was all an act, Tian Chan felt that Lin Yi was very powerful. A rogue cultivator could destroy a hidden family. What kind of ability was this? Although this matter was very easy for an ancient sect, that was a sect, how could it be compared to a rogue cultivator? As for Chanxi's news, Tianchan didn't intend to directly call Lin Yi to tell him. What identity should she use to call Lin Yi? How should she say it? If Lin Yi asked her for people, should she give it or not? If she gave it, Tianchan didn't care, but what would the Xianqian ancestor think? If she didn't give it, Lin Yi would definitely be unhappy, and Tianchan would also be very unhappy. Therefore, Tianchan decided to release the news that the young master of the Heavenly Elixir sect, Tian Can, had become an excellent cauldron, but because this cauldron didn't have a good corresponding mantra, he decided to let this cauldron cultivate again and use it after 2 years. In this way, things became reasonable, and Lin Yi didn't have to worry about anything happening to Chan-Shi in 2 years. Of course, Tian-Chan wasn't afraid that Chan-Shi would be taken away by others in these 2 years, not even by the Xianqian ancestor. After all, Tian-Chan had to continue to maintain his lustful identity in front of outsiders, so it was absolutely impossible to give away what was in his pocket. Tian-Chan breathed a sigh of relief when she thought of the future path for Chan-Shi. The Zhao father and son and elder Mian settled down in the guest room, while Kong Xiaoming went to see the Xianqian ancestor. Disciple Kong Mingming greets master. As soon as Kong Mingming entered, he saw that Patriarch Xuanqian's expression was very ugly. He didn't know why Patriarch Xianqian was unhappy, but he knelt on the ground in fear and reverence. Kong Mingming, who told you to send a cauldron to Sky Silkworm transformation? Patriarch Xianqian asked coldly. Ah! Kong Mingming was stunned. He didn't expect Patriarch Xianqian to be angry because of this. However, he didn't know what he did wrong. Master, didn't you say that I'm an elder of the Heavenly Elixir sect, and that I should build a good relationship with young Master Tian? I thought a servant girl was killed by him, and I found a cauldron to please him. Is there anything wrong with that? Patriarch Xianqian was stunned. He realized that he was indeed a bit impatient. Kong Mingming didn't know the reason behind it. He didn't know that Sky Silkworm transformation was actually a female, so he did these things. Patriarch Xianqian knew that Tian-Chan couldn't use a cauldron to cultivate. Cauldron cultivation emphasized the balance of yin and yang attributes. Both Tian-Chan and Chan-Shi were yin attributes, so how could they be used? The so-called killing of a servant girl was just a rumor. Xianqian remembered that the servant girl had died in an accident. A cauldron is such a big thing. What if Sky Silkworm transformation doesn't like it if you don't discuss it with me? Wouldn't you be kissing up to the horse's feet? Patriarch Xianqian explained himself. I'm doing this for your own good. Sorry, Master. Disciple was impatient. Next time, Disciple will definitely discuss it with you first. Kong Mingming hurriedly said. I heard that Zhao Guangyin and Mian Huachuan are both Earth rank experts? Patriarch Xianqian asked. Yes, Master. Kong Mingming hurriedly answered. Find a chance to test them. Ask them if they want to become stronger. If they do, I can help them. Patriarch Xianqian pondered for a moment and said to Kong Mingming. What do you mean? Kong Mingming was stunned. Master, you want to give them qi gathering pills? How can there be so many qi gathering pills for them? Patriarch Xianqian shook his head. I'm working with a force to modify cultivators. I don't know if it will succeed or if there are any drawbacks, so I wanted to find someone to try it out. Coincidentally, these two have come to me. So that's how it is. They might die easily. Kong Mingming nodded. Master is indeed sinister and ruthless. Even I didn't expect to make a move on someone from the hidden Zhao family. I'm impressed. Alright, stop flattering me. I'll have little one follow you. When the time is right, show off your skills in front of those two from the Zhao family. They'll probably take the initiative to beg you to become stronger. Patriarch Xianqian said. That's true. Don't worry, Master. I've made the arrangements. I won't let you down this time. Kong Mingming nodded and prepared to leave. Wait, when you leave, tell Little Peach to inform the Heavenly Silkworm transformation to come see me. Tell him that I have something to discuss with him. Patriarch Xianqian instructed. Yes, Master. Kong Mingming didn't think too much about it. After leaving the door, he found Little Peach and asked her to inform the Heavenly Silkworm transformation to come see Patriarch Xianqian. Meanwhile, he went to find Little One to meet Zhao Guangyin and Mian Huachuan. The heavenly silkworm transformation knew that Patriarch Xianchen or Patriarch Xuanzhen would definitely look for her because of the cauldron. So she wasn't surprised. She directly came to Patriarch Xuanzhen's room and said respectfully, "Disciple Tianchan greets Martial Uncle Xianchen. Tianchan, I heard that Kong Mingming gave you a cauldron. How do you plan to deal with this matter?" Patriarch Xianchen didn't beat around the bush and asked directly, "Martial Uncle Xianchen, I'm going to announce to the public that the cauldron's previous cultivation method isn't suitable. I'm going to have her cultivate a better cauldron cultivation method again. Then, I'll have her be one of my maids and temporarily replace Little Peach." Tianchan said, "This way, I can hide the fact that I'm a woman and let everyone think that I didn't touch the cauldron because her cultivation method isn't suitable." "That's not bad." Patriarch Xianchen nodded. Although he really wanted to give this cauldron to his other disciples, giving it to Tianchan was equivalent to wasting it. Chapter 2988. But for now, according to the outside world's understanding of Tianchan, she was domineering and lecherous. How could she possibly give her woman to someone else? Not to mention a high-quality cauldron. Of course, if the cauldron was left by Tianchan's side on the surface and given to her disciple in secret, Tianchan probably wouldn't allow it either. Since the cauldron was in Tianchan's hands, Tianchan might be considering giving it to her younger brother, Tianchange, or someone else from the Heavenly Elixir sect. Forefather Xianchen didn't want to cause trouble with Tianchan over such a small matter, so he could only nod in agreement. He was a little annoyed. Kong Mingming had directly given the cauldron to him, and he could still give it to the hidden Zhao families Zhao Guangyin and Mian Huachuan, just like now. But after the Heavenly Elixir sect, could he still take it back? "Senior Uncle Xianchen, is there anything else?" Tianchan naturally guessed what Forefather Xianchen was thinking when she saw his expression. However, Tianchan naturally wouldn't let him have his way. She pretended not to see it and asked, "It's fine. You can go back. This Kong Mingming is really something. Watch me scold him for doing something like this." Forefather Xianchen pointed at the mulberry tree and scolded the locust tree. "That's fine too. I'm also looking for a maid. Little Peach and Kong Mingming love each other, so I'm going to betroth Little Peach to Kong Mingming. It'll help them achieve their goal. That's why I need to find a maid. I'm guessing that Kong Mingming sent this cauldron to me." Tianchan purposefully misinterpreted Kong Mingming's intentions and said to Forefather Xianchen. Tianchan knew why Kong Mingming approached Little Peach. He just wanted to get close to her through Little Peach. Little Peach wasn't a stunning beauty, but Kong Mingming pursued her with all his might. The meaning behind this was self-evident. "Oh, so that's how it is." Patriarch Black Earth was suddenly enlightened. He snorted coldly and said, "No wonder this kid didn't tell me beforehand. So it turns out that he wanted to exchange for Peach Blossom. I knew it." Patriarch Xianchen did not have any interest in women, so he did not think that Little Peach was beautiful or ugly. He believed Tianchan's words. After all, Kong Mingming and Little Peach had been very close during this period of time. Patriarch Xianchen had also seen it. "So, I think it's better to help Kong Mingming and Little Peach be together," Tianchan said. "All right, but you have to remind Little Peach to keep her mouth shut. If she reveals that you are a girl, don't blame me for being impolite to her. Her family will also die." Patriarch Xianchen said. "All right. I'll pass on your message, Uncle Master Xianchen." Tianchan nodded. "All right, you may leave." Patriarch Black Earth waved his hand, indicating that Tianchan could leave. When Linyi got back to the villa, Mengyao and Yushu saw that Linyi's face wasn't looking too good. The miss asked curiously, "Linyi, what's wrong? Is the hidden house Zhao not going well?" Zhao Guangyin ran away and took Chan Shi. "I can't contact the Zhu brothers now. I don't know how they are doing," Linyi said with a frown. "Ran away." Mengyao paused. "Yeah, but he only took Chan Shi, not Ziyu. That's what I'm confused about. If Zhao Guangyin wanted to blackmail me, he should have done it now, but there's no news at all," Linyi said worriedly. "That's strange." The eldest miss was stunned. Logically speaking, there was always a reason to kidnap someone. It was either to rob them of their wealth, to rape them, or to blackmail them. Chan Shi was Zhao Guangyin's biological daughter. Even if Zhao Guangyin was worse than a beast, he shouldn't be able to do anything like rape. As for money, with Chan Shi's poor family background, Even if they had some money recently, it still wouldn't be enough to enter the eyes of the hidden Zhao family. The last one was blackmail, but he didn't do it to Lin Yi. Shield bro, Shu thought of a possibility. Yushu thought about it and had an idea. Could it be that Zhao Guangyin took Chanxi to give her a gift? Gift? Lin Yi didn't quite understand what Yushu meant. Zhuan Yaoqiang slapped his thigh. That's right. Boss Lin Yi, why didn't we think of that? Sister Shu is the smartest. Previously, both of us wanted to kidnap Chanxi and use her as a cultivation cauldron. That Zhao Guangyin definitely knows about this. He can definitely give Chanxi away as a cultivation cauldron and ask for the protection and support of some big shots. Oh, that makes sense. Lin Yi nodded and looked at Yushu. Shu, do you think so too? Yeah, I think so too, Yushu said with certainty. Yushu said with certainty. This is in line with Guangyin's thoughts as well. Hidden House Zhao is no match for Shield Bro. And if he doesn't want to die, he'll have to find someone stronger to back him up. The only bargaining chip he has left is Chanxi. If that's the case, then Chanxi is in danger. Lin Yi frowned. But there's no point in panicking now. We can only slowly gather information, Han Tianba comforted. Lin Yi nodded, but soon, there was news from the hidden house Shuang. Boss Zhu and second brother Zhu were found in an alley near the school, and both of them had different degrees of injuries. Boss Zhu's injuries were more serious, and they were on the way to Donghai. But Lin Yi felt that this wasn't normal. Boss Zhu and second brother Zhu were both Earth-class masters, and both of them were injured. The enemy needed at least 3 Earth-class masters to do this. Could it be that there was a third person other than Zhao Guangyin and Elder Mian? Zhao Qibing. Suddenly he thought of Zhao Qibing. He picked up his phone and called Guxian. Boss, why are you calling again? It's so fast, I don't have any news. Guxian asked, confused. I'm not asking for news, but I need you to keep an eye on someone for me. Zhao Qibing from the Dark Palace. He's related to Chanxi. Lin Yi said. Oh, okay, I'll get some people to look for him, Guxian replied. Although this made Lin Yi very uneasy, he still had to live his life as usual. Before Guxian had any news, Lin Yi couldn't go around looking for Chanxi like a headless chicken. He could only do his own things. After breaking through to the early phase of Sky Class, Lin Yi had a lot of things to do. He needed to practice the later moves of Fire Baguazhang, find a suitable Sky Class weapon, and complete the second stage of the Art of Dragon Mastery. He could go back to West Star Village and open the third stone door at any time. Chapter 2990. After reaching Sky Class, he could use the Spring Rain Martial technique to provide more stamina and pure chi. Would he be able to concoct Sky Class pills with Han Jingjing's help? However, the most important point was that Lin Yi was in need of money. The medical company was barely holding on, but it didn't mean that they had made it through. After this batch of medicine was sent to the distributors, there would definitely be a gap. Before, it was the distributors who paid first and then the goods, but after this incident, which distributor would be stupid enough to pay first and then the goods? They would only pay when the goods arrived. This way, Miracle Dr. Guan's medical company wouldn't have the money to produce the next batch of medicine. Fatty Lai had already told Lin Yi about this, but Lin Yi really had no other way. Among his lackeys, the richest was the secular House Lu. And now that the secular House Lu was done for, Lin Yi really didn't have a place to look for money. The richest in the hidden plane were the hidden House Yu and the Golden Clock sect, but these two were just feigning civility because they were afraid of Lin Yi. If he really wanted money from them, it wouldn't be possible. Lin Yi couldn't just go to their door and extort money, could he? The ancient level would probably interfere if he did this without a good reason, and that wasn't something Lin Yi wanted to see. He'd had enough troubles recently, and he didn't want to cause any more trouble now that everything had calmed down. He could only take it one step at a time. Lin Yi temporarily settled his lackeys and went to the backyard of the villa, ready to try activating the Fire Baguazhang. When he was in the late phase of Earth Class, Lin Yi could already activate the 8th form of the Fire Baguazhang, but he couldn't activate the 9th form. Lin Yi could already activate the 9th form of the Fire Fist. So Lin Yi activated the mantra for the 9th form of the Fire Fist, and then he moved the qi to his palms, using the method of the 5-element Baguazhang, and quickly activated it. Boom! There was an explosion in the yard. Although Lin Yi only activated it in the air, the power was not to be underestimated. The huge explosion shocked Lin Yi's lackeys in the villa, but most of them were happy. Lin Yi seemed to be stronger than before. This was the same as activating the 15th form of a normal martial technique. Before, Lin Yi could instantly kill a mid-phase Sky Class Master, and now Lin Yi felt that he could kill a peak mid-phase Sky Class Master. But whether or not, he had to test it first to know. What made Lin Yi regretful was that after activating the 9th form, Lin Yi's body actually drained all the qi in his body, causing Lin Yi to directly go limp on the ground. The 15th form generally could only be activated by a mid-phase Sky Class Master. Now that Lin Yi was activating it, it naturally consumed more qi. And Lin Yi also found that the higher the level of the fire Baguazhang, the harder it was to activate it. It was not like when he was in the early phase of the Earth class where he could easily activate it. Now every time Lin Yi activated it, he had to use all his strength, and he couldn't activate it continuously. After quickly recovering his qi, Lin Yi began to try activating the 10th, 11th, and 12th forms of the Fire Fist. However, these 3 forms seemed to be already memorized by Lin Yi, activating them in one go without any hindrance. At the 13th form, it came to an abrupt stop. And even after activating the 12th form, Lin Yi didn't feel as exhausted as when activating the 9th form of the Fire Baguazhang. After that, Lin Yi tried again and found that he could activate the 8th form of the Fire Baguazhang twice. In other words, he could instantly kill 2 mid-phase Sky Class Masters. Compared to before, this was an obvious improvement, but it still didn't reach Lin Yi's expectations. It could be said that the art of dragon mastery had an obvious advantage before the mystic class, and the all-purpose skills had an obvious advantage before the earth class. But now Lin Yi had stepped into the sky class, but he still hadn't found an advantage, so Lin Yi placed his hope on the 3rd stone door that was about to open. The news of Lin Yi's recovery spread like wildfire across the entire ancient world. And the Dark Palace naturally received the news long ago. At this moment, Zhao Qibing had returned and was sitting in the meeting room. Lin Yi, that freelancer, actually recovered his strength and reached the early phase of Sky Class? How is this possible? Wasn't he poisoned? Zhao Qibing, tell me what's going on. Wasn't it Kong Mingming who poisoned him? The Grand Elder was exasperated. She thought that she would be able to take the 2 pills from Lin Yi's hands with her arrogance, but not only did she fail to take them, Lin Yi had become even stronger. The poison is fine, but this Lin Yi can't be judged by common sense. It's been like this many times in the past. Lin Yi looked like he was done for, but when his enemies arrived, they realized that Lin Yi was faking it. Zhao Qibing said bitterly, Kong Mingming and I once saw Lin Yi, who was supposed to be unconscious, suddenly stand up and use a big move, turning a few of our masters into ashes. You're too weak, you're too weak. If I had to do it myself, that Lin Yi would be begging for mercy. The Grand Elder smiled coldly. Forget it, let's not talk about this. How did your trip to Sky Elixir go? Did you resolve your grudge with Sky Elixir? Grand Elder, Elder Kong said that he would prioritize making qi gathering pills for Dark Palace, and it'll be done soon. He's very happy about this. Zhao Qibing said quickly. That's good. The Grand Elder nodded. Last time when Elder Hei and Sky Silkworm transformation had a conflict, the Grand Elder was afraid that it would affect the relationship between the 2 sects, so the Sky Elixir sect purposely made things difficult for Dark Palace. It just so happened that Zhao Qibing had this plan, so he made the trip. It seemed like the effect was achieved. You did well this time. Thank you for the compliment, Grand Elder. Although Zhao Qibing said that, he didn't think much of the Grand Elder. This was a classic example of bullying the weak and fearing the strong. In front of the Sky Elixir sect he was the grandson, but in front of Lin Yi he was the boss. But you're only good at talking, do you want to give more to Lin Yi? Do you dare? With the restriction of the ancient sects, even if you were Sky Class late phase peak, you wouldn't dare to cause trouble in the common world. Ice Palace. Bingtang knew that Lin Yi had regained his strength earlier than the others, as Aunt Qing brought the good news to her. Chapter 2991. He is actually in Heaven stage? Rock Candy was a little emotional. It was rare for her to be able to enter Heaven stage at such a young age. Although every sect had some elixirs, breaking through to Heaven stage was different from other stages. Qi gathering pills were not used unless it was absolutely necessary. This was also the reason why the Palace of Dark Knights didn't use it until now. After all, Once the chi-gathering pill was used, one's strength would be stuck at the moment of advancement. In the future, unless one kept taking chi-gathering pills or accepted the enlightenment inheritance and no longer had the level barrier, the path of cultivation for the rest of his life would be locked. Yes, Palace Master Lin Yi is really young and promising. If he wasn't Vice Palace Master Feng's boyfriend, Palace Master could also consider it. Aunt Qing said with some emotion. Rock Candy suddenly blushed. Thinking of her promise to Lin Yi to be his little wife, Rock Candy couldn't help but feel a little flustered. Watching Lin Yi grow step by step, was she really going to marry him? Back then, Rock Candy only said those words out of anger. She never thought that Lin Yi would really have such a day. But now that Lin Yi was already in the early stage of Heaven stage, it was really hard to say what would happen in the future. Aunt Qing, when did you speak up for a man? Didn't you tell me before that men are unreliable? Rock Candy changed the topic because it was really hard for her to imagine what it would be like when she became Lin Yi's little wife. Back then, I and that man were interested in each other, but that man rejected me. But maybe he had his difficulties. I used to think that he looked down on me, but after he left for so many years and there was no news from the old palace master, I gradually understood that he rejected me for my own good. If he had accepted me back then, how would I have spent all these years missing him? Aunt Qing sighed. Although she didn't look old, her actual age was almost 40 years old. Oh, Aunt Qing, have you thought it through? Bingtang was stunned and looked at Aunt Qing in surprise. Yes, after experiencing Lin Yi's matter and seeing Deputy Palace Master Feng separate from his lover, and the two of them can't be together for various reasons, I figured it out. Maybe that person also has his own difficulties. Aunt Qing said. I just don't know how he is now. Is he living well? Aunt Qing, it's good that you've thought things through. Bingtang heaved a sigh of relief. Aunt Qing's matter was also Bingtang's concern. Aunt Qing, since you have thought it through, have you decided to get married? Of course not. Back then, that person said that if it was really possible, he would come back to find me. At that time, I thought that what he said was just perfunctory, but now that I think about it, maybe it really wasn't perfunctory. Aunt Qing shook her head and said, So I will continue to wait. Bingtang nodded. She understood Aunt Qing. This matter had been in her heart for more than 10 years. How could she let it go so easily? However, Bingtang finally found a chance to ask, Aunt Qing, because of your matter before I couldn't ask, but now that you have thought it through, can you tell me about what happened in the past? According to the rumors in Jianghu, the two masters who suddenly appeared were masters of the heavenly way, and your lover was actually a master of the heavenly way. It's really incredible. Hee, rumors are not necessarily reliable. In fact, I asked him if he was a cultivator and if he was a master of the heavenly way. At that time, he didn't answer directly, but he gave an ambiguous answer. Aunt Qing smiled. What answer? Asked Bingtang. He said that he didn't know what level of expert he was. If I had to say, he should be an unranked expert because he was neither a physical cultivator nor a spiritual cultivator. However, he was more powerful than any cultivator in the world. Aunt Qing seemed to be lost in her memories. She thought back to those years and those things. More powerful than any cultivator. What about those people in that place? Bingtang hesitated and asked. They should be more powerful. Back then, he killed Patriarch Mad Dragon with one punch in the everyday sect. Aunt Qing said. This isn't something that any cultivator can do. So those rumors are true. Rock Candy had heard of these things before, but most of them were hearsay. Because of Aunt Qing, she did not delve into it. Only now did she know clearly. Then what's his name? His name is Lin Dongfang. Aunt Qing remembered this unforgettable name. Lin Dongfang. The same surname as Lin Yi? Bingtang was slightly stunned, then looked at Aunt Qing with a faint smile and said, Aunt Qing, is it because Lin Yi's surname is also Lin that you favor him? Maybe. Aunt Qing didn't deny it, but nodded slightly and said, But Lin Yi has his own merits. Aunt Qing, you go and tell this good news to Xiao Xiao. After she hears it, she will be very happy. Bingtang hesitated and said, Oh. Aunt Qing was slightly stunned. This wasn't like Bingtang's personality. Because of her, Bingtang had always been cold towards relationships since she was young. This time, she actually took the initiative to ask her to tell this news to Xiao Xiao. Actually, Aunt Qing, you have said so much to me. And I understand your feelings. Naturally, I also understand Xiao Xiao's feelings. I hate Lin Yi maybe because he is the first solo practitioner who dares to challenge the dignity of the Ice Palace, and also the first man who made me say things like being his little wife, so I have always been prejudiced against him. But, as Aunt Qing said, he is really powerful. Bingtang had to admit that Lin Yi was a powerful person. A solo practitioner who could step into Sky class from Mystic class in such a short time was really unbelievable. Haha, that's good. Aunt Qing smiled. Actually, I also don't want to see you and Vice Palace Master Feng have a conflict because of this. Aunt Qing left, and Bingtang fell into deep thought again. Unconsciously, she remembered the scene when Lin Yi came to the Ice Palace for the first time. Lin Yi stood in the snow looking forward to meeting her. Even if he didn't eat or drink, he just stood there for half a month just for Xiao Xiao. Chapter 2992. When he was at Mystic Phase, this goal was out of reach, but now it wasn't within reach, but it wasn't far away either. She thought about how Lin Yi fought for Tang Yun at House Tang's birthday banquet, and how he didn't hesitate to fall out with House Tang and even the Heavenly Elixir Sex Envoy. At that time, she thought that Lin Yi was overestimating himself, but now it seemed that it was the hidden House Tang who was overestimating himself. Now in the hidden world, who would dare to go against Lin Yi's will? The hidden House Zhao would be their end. Thinking about this, Crystal Candy suddenly felt that Lin Yi wasn't that annoying anymore. He was a solo practitioner, and he was able to get to where he was today with his own hard work, one step at a time. He was different from the practitioners who came from big sects, and he could only rely on himself. The background of a hero was never questioned. Those two unknown masters were able to sweep through the ancient world. Weren't they solo practitioners? In fact, he might not even be a rogue cultivator, but he was still able to turn the ancient era upside down. Crystal Candy's view of Lin Yi changed unknowingly, and she was even happy for Xiao Xiao. To have a man who loved her like this, at least he was much better than Aunt Qing. Although Aunt Qing went to help Lin Yi, Xiao Xiao still didn't have the mood to train. Aunt Qing could help for a while but not forever. Lin Yi was crippled by poison, and this wasn't a small problem. There was no antidote for the poison, and Lin Yi's injuries were on his meridians and dantian. This was a vicious cycle, and no matter how good the medicine was, it couldn't heal Lin Yi's injuries. In the world of practitioners, if the dantian was crippled, it meant that the practitioner's path of training had ended, and he could only be a normal person for the rest of his life. Xiao Xiao knew that Lin Yi valued strength. Without strength, where would Lin Yi go? Just as Xiao Xiao was frowning, Aunt Qing walked into her room. Aunt Qing. Hearing the footsteps, Xiao Xiao raised her head and froze. Aunt Qing, why are you back? Lin Yi's husband. How is he? Vice Palace Master Feng. I'm going to tell you a very important piece of news. Don't get too excited after hearing it. Aunt Qing finally untangled the knot in her heart today and joked with Xiao Xiao. If it were any other time, Xiao Xiao would definitely say, Auntie Qing, just call me Xiao Xiao, why call me Vice Palace Master Feng? But today Xiao Xiao couldn't care less about that. She was thinking about Lin Yi, so she quickly asked, Aunt Qing? What was going on? What happened to Lin Yi? Something very big. Aunt Qing looked at Xiao Xiao with a serious face and said slowly, he broke through to Sky Class early phase. Ah! Xiao Xiao was so nervous that her heart was pounding. She didn't think that it would be something this big. This was indeed a big deal, but how could Xiao Xiao not think the worst when Aunt Qing said it like that? A smile appeared on Xiao Xiao's face as she complained, Aunt Qing, you're just scaring me. The news of the everyday sect and Lin Yi's recovery and annihilation of the hidden House Zhao naturally spread. When Pinliang heard the news, he was a little surprised, but not too surprised. He was Lin Yi's earliest opponent since returning to the city, and he was also one of the opponents who understood Lin Yi the best. He saw Lin Yi's ups and downs a few times, and the rumor said that Lin Yi was injured, but Lin Yi stood up again in the end. This made it very easy for Pinliang to accept that Lin Yi wasn't injured at all, and that he was pretending to be weak. Pure Yang, what do you think? Pinliang frowned after receiving the news. Master, in fact, this has nothing to do with us. The news of Lin Yi being poisoned and the news of him kicking the Zhao family came back almost at the same time. We didn't plan to take advantage of him, but decided to use absolute strength. Let Brother Chunin take action. Even if Lin Yi is in the early stage of heaven stage in front of the peak late stage of heaven stage, he will not be able to withstand a single blow, Chunyang Tianzuan said. That's true. Is Pure Yin done with his isolation? Pinliang nodded and asked. Not yet. With Pure Yin's current strength it'll be very hard for him to break through, so he won't be able to come out anytime soon, Pure Yang said. If Master is willing I can call him out earlier. Forget it. Disturbing his isolation might cause him to bite back and go berserk. There's already Zhang Naipeo in his heart, and our sect can't lose any more people. Pinliang waved his hand. There's no rush to kill Lin Yi. Let's wait until he's done with his isolation. Master has the final say. Let's wait and see. Pure Yang Heavenly Venerate hurriedly agreed. Dark Palace. Today was a day of celebration for the Dark Palace, because today the Sky Elixir sect sent over a chi-gathering pill. Maybe it was because he gave the Sky Elixir sect a good cauldron, so Elder Xianchen specially ordered to make a chi-gathering pill for the Dark Palace first. Of course this was just a gesture. Although the cauldron had no use for Tianchan's cultivation, in order to express his fondness for the cauldron in front of the outside world, he quickly gave out a chi-amassing pill. This chi-gathering pill is the last hope of our Dark Palace. After you take it, I will immediately send you to the Dark Phoenix mountain range for closed-door training. The moment you break through to heaven rank is the easiest time to comprehend the inheritance. At that time, you may become the inheritor of the metal element. The Grand Elder held the chi-gathering pill excitedly and said solemnly, I hope you don't waste this chance. Yes, Grand Elder. Wunner was a little nervous. Looking at the Grand Elder's excited eyes, she could only pray in her heart that the inheritance must be successful this time, otherwise, even if she was the granddaughter of the old sect master, it wouldn't help. The Grand Elder was someone who was crazy about the development of the sect. In her eyes, nothing was more important than the interests of the sect. Even if it was the sect master, as long as he did harm to the sect, she could still remove him from his position and support a new sect master. One had to say, this type of person who didn't care about anything else for the sake of the sect was a weirdo in the ancient world. After Wana received the chi-gathering pill, she was sent to the Dark Phoenix mountain range by the Grand Elder to break through to Sky Class and receive the inheritance. However, the higher the expectations of the people in the Dark Palace, the greater the pressure on Wana. In fact, everyone knew that stepping into Sky Class would only increase the chances of receiving the inheritance by a small amount. Chapter 2993. Lin Yi's life became simple once again. Although the news of Lin Yi's breakthrough to the early stage of Heaven Class had spread, and Lin Yi's enemies had also gone into hiding, but Lin Yi was worried about Qianxi, so he didn't leave the villa. In fact, Lin Yi's current priority was to go back to the West Star Village, then open the third stone door and get the benefits behind it. But without receiving any news about Qianxi, Lin Yi's heart was not at ease. So in the past few days, Lin Yi still practiced martial arts in the villa every day, condensed the forging fire, and waited for Han Jingjing to come out of seclusion. He wanted to increase her strength to the late stage of Earth Class, and then see if she could refine a third-level pill. The only thing that made Lin Yi happy was that he had made great progress in condensing the forging fire. Maybe Lin Yi's strength had improved, or maybe Lin Yi was diligent in practicing. In short, Lin Yi could now increase and decrease the attributes of the forging fire at will, but he still couldn't change the temperature and intensity of the fire. These two aspects still needed further practice. But no matter what, Lin Yi had improved a lot compared to before, and this change made Lin Yi very happy. At noon, Lin Yi finished his practice and was ready to increase the strength of his spirit beasts. But before Lin Yi reached the backyard, the phone rang. Lin Yi picked it up and saw that it was Gu Xian. He quickly pressed the answer button. Gu Xian? How is it? Is there any news? Boss, there's news. I was just about to tell you about it. Gu Xian had just received the news and quickly dialed Lin Yi's number. Zhao Guangyin and Qianxi went to the Heavenly Elixir sect, and at present, Qianxi was given to the young master of the Heavenly Elixir sect as a furnace by Zhao Guangyin. And because of his contributions, Zhao Guangyin became the disciple of the 8th elder of the Heavenly Elixir sect, Kong Ming Ming. Oh, Qianxi was sacrificed as a cultivation vessel? Lin Yi's heart suddenly jumped. Although Lin Yi didn't know how to use the furnace, it was definitely not good for Qianxi. He quickly asked, is she in danger? For the time being, there is no danger, because according to the information, Shanxi has not systematically practiced the furnace mantra before, so the Heavenly Elixir sect has decided to let her practice the furnace mantra again in 2 years. So for now it seems that no one is in danger. Gu Xian said, however, it's hard to say after 2 years. According to the news, the maid before the Heavenly Silkworm transformation was his furnace. Her name was Heavenly Butterfly, and she has been cultivated to death. One is already dead? Linny immediately frowned, but he was a little puzzled. The Heavenly Silkworm transformation he saw the other day didn't seem to be someone who practiced crooked ways. Could it be that the rumors were true, that the young master of the Heavenly Elixir sect was a lecherous pervert? Yes, even the Heavenly Elixir sect admitted that one died, but they said it was an accident. But the rumors say that Heavenly Silkworm transformation used her as a furnace and sucked too much pure qi, and she died. Gu Xian said, Boss, you know that it's hard to say, but the rumors aren't unfounded. What Gu Xian didn't know was that the news of Heavenly Butterfly being used as a furnace was spread by the Heavenly Silkworm transformation herself. One, it was to cover up her female identity, and the other, it was to cover up the fact that she was hiding Heavenly Butterfly. But at least we still have 2 years. Gu Xian, help me keep an eye on the Heavenly Elixir sect in Shanxi. If there are any changes, let me know immediately. Linny said after some thought. At least Shanxi was fine for now, and Linny breathed a sigh of relief. Boss Zhu and Second Zhu had been sent back by Linny to protect Ziyu. Linny had enough underlings around him, and the two of them wouldn't be of much use here. Plus, the news of Linny becoming a sky-class early phase had spread. In the hidden plane there was no one who could fight him anymore. The ancient plane, on the other hand, had their own rules. They wouldn't casually enter the common world. After hanging up, Linny called Ziyu and told her not to worry, that Shanxi was fine for now. He also told Boss Zhu to tell Shanxi's mother about the situation, but he could only tell her the truth. Shanxi had been sold by Zhao Guangyin, and although she wasn't in danger right now, it was enough for her to give up on Zhao Guangyin. She had to be more careful just in case she fell for it again. Hidden House Tang Elder Tang Taizheng had also heard about Lin Yi breaking through to Sky Class and annihilating the Hidden House Zhao. He was so scared that he couldn't sit still. Before, Tang Taizheng never would have thought that a solo practitioner like Lin Yi could grow to this extent. It was too unbelievable. Even at the Hidden House Summit, Tang Taizheng couldn't tell that Lin Yi was able to annihilate the Hidden House Zhao. At that time, he was naive enough to think that Lin Yi had caused the conflict between the Hidden House Yu and House Zhao to escape. He was still afraid of the Hidden House Yu and House Zhao. Lin Yi's excellence was only that of a junior. Compared to elders like them, it was like heaven and earth. But now, his illusion was shattered by Lin Yi's actions. From what he could see, Lin Yi, a junior solo practitioner that he didn't even put in his eyes, suddenly became a crocodile that could swallow the Hidden House Tang at any time. Tang Taizheng was truly afraid. Tang Boss, Tang Yu, and Yu Xiaoxin were all called to the Hidden House Tang's meeting room. Tang Taizheng was like an ant on a hot pan, pacing around on the floor. What do we do? What should we do? Back then we, the Hidden House Tang, offended Lin Yi and his father-in-law's family. What should we do now? Hidden House Zhao has been annihilated by Lin Yi. Next it should be our Hidden House Tang's turn, right? Back then when Tang Yun was accepted as Shuagu's disciple, Tang Taizheng wasn't too worried. He only regretted kicking Tang Yun out of the house. After all, an ancient sect wouldn't make a move on a hidden house just because of a small grudge. It was against the rules. However, Lin Yi was a solo practitioner. He didn't care about the rules and didn't play by the rules. He destroyed whoever he wanted. This was what worried Elder Tang the most. Chapter 2995. However, everyone in the Tang family cared about their face. Although they knew that they were the ones who caused the situation, they couldn't bring themselves to go to the Snow Valley to recognize Tang Yun. Especially when Xiao Ming was still in the Snow Valley, Boss Tang didn't dare to do this behind Yu Xiaoxin's back. If Yu Xiaoxin found out, she would definitely explode in anger and make a big fuss. But now, it was a moment of life and death for the hidden Tang family. Face and whatnot could be abandoned. Tang Taizheng's tone had already softened. Why would eldest brother Tang still care about face? How about I make a trip to the Snow Valley and bring Xiaoming back? Tang Lauda hesitated for a moment before he looked at Tang Taizheng and asked. Actually, bringing Xiaoming back was equivalent to acknowledging Tang Yun. He would also become Lin Yi's father-in-law. Then Lin Yi couldn't not acknowledge his own family, right? How dare you? Before Tang Taizhong could say anything, Yu Xiaoxin exploded and loudly denied. Are you still thinking about that bitch in your heart? Pa. Tang Taizhong frowned. He was very dissatisfied with his daughter-in-law. But before he could reprimand her, Big Brother Tang couldn't help but slap her in the face. Why are you interrupting when men are talking? You slut, if it wasn't for you rejecting Xiaoming, would our family be in this state now? Xiaoming's daughter was Tang Yun. She is Senior Lin's girlfriend. With Senior Lin's support, our hidden Tang family might even become the ancient Tang family. You hit me. Yu Xiaoxin didn't listen to the latter part of Big Bro Tang's words. She directly became anxious as she pointed at Big Bro Tang and cursed. I want to go back to my mother's house and tell my father that you hit me. Alright. Yu Xiaoxin, stop fooling around. Tang Taizhong finally couldn't take it anymore and scolded. Hiding in the Yu family is also difficult to protect. Do you think your father is some great hero? In front of Senior Lin, it was just a fart. Senior Lin wanted him to destroy the hidden Zhao family, so he had to destroy it. Otherwise he would have to die. However, he is lucky to have a chance to be Senior Lin's dog to resolve his grudges. Our hidden Zhao family is a step behind. After being scolded by Tang Taizhong, Yu Xiaoxin suddenly came to her senses. Yes, Lin Yi was no longer the Lin Yi of the past. She had always regarded the hidden Yu family as a big backer. But in front of Lin Yi, didn't they order them around like dogs? Thinking of this, Yu Xiaoxin shut her mouth and did not dare to say anything more. Grandpa, I support father's suggestion. I'll accompany him to the Snow Valley to reunite with him. Even if I can't bring Auntie Xiaoming back, our relationship will at least be better. At least my relationship with Auntie Xiaoming is still not bad. Tang Yu said. As for Lin Yi, I have a good relationship with him. I don't know if he can do me a favor. Of course, if Lil Sis Tang Yun helps, then there won't be a problem. That's good too. Tang Taizhong nodded in agreement and patted Tang Yu's shoulder. Yu, now it seems that you have the most foresight in our hidden Tang family. Not only did you have a good relationship with your Auntie Xiaoming, you also had a good relationship with Senior Lin Yi. This way, not only can our Tang family resolve our grudges, we might even be able to rise to the next level. Xiaoxin, look how powerful is your son. Unlike you, petty and narrow-minded, if Xiaoming comes back this time, her position in the family will be the same as yours. She will be a second wife. If you dare to bully her, then scram back to the hidden Yu family and wait for death. Don't implicate our hidden Tang family. Tang Taizhong thought of the possibility of obtaining Lin Yi's support, and the hidden Tang family would soar. In this way, the hidden Yu family's help and power would not be worth mentioning at all. Yu Xiaoxin nodded submissively but didn't dare to make a scene. Even if she was stupid, she could see that Lin Yi was now more powerful than the hidden Yu family and the hidden Tang family. If she offended Lin Yi, then her family would be ruined. Dad, don't worry, I won't dare to do it again. But you have to thank me for giving birth to Yu. If it wasn't for him, how would we have the chance to meet Lin Yi? Tang Taizhong nodded and calmed down a little. How about this, boss? You guys pack up and head to Snow Valley. The sooner this matter is settled, the better. Otherwise, if Senior Lin Yi is free and decides to attack our hidden Tang family, we will be caught unprepared. Okay. Boss Tang and Tang Yu quickly agreed. However, the hidden Tang family was worrying over nothing. Lin Yi didn't really remember what happened in the hidden Tang family. His memory was messed up because of the senseless herb's medicinal liquid. He couldn't remember what conflict he had with the hidden Tang family, so it was even more impossible for him to find trouble with the hidden Tang family. 5 Elements Sect. In the living room of the 5 Elements Sect, Ancestor Xianchen was receiving 3 people from the secular world. However, for Ancestor Xianchen to personally come out to receive them, these 3 people's identities were definitely not ordinary. Ancestor Xianchen, I've heard a lot about you. Among the 3 people, the leader was a woman who was a little too young. At this moment, facing Ancestor Xianchen, her attitude was neither servile nor overbearing. Obviously, she was someone who had experienced a lot. Miss Luan, I'm afraid you've heard the name Xianchen not long ago, right? As for me, I've heard a lot about you. the person in charge of the largest overseas human potential research organization, the Center. Ancestor Xianchen laughed and nodded to the young woman in front of him. Don't call me Miss Luan. I'm afraid I'm about the same age as you. The woman called Miss Luan said faintly. I wonder why Ancestor Xianchen is looking for me through Jiangwen. Forgive me for being blunt. Before, I was only guessing that behind the Fire Wolf Gang and the Red Conches, there was another larger and more high-end organization. The Fire Wolf Gang and the Red Conches sounded more like a branch of a certain organization. After thinking about it, it could only be more similar to the once flourishing center. Ancestor Xianchen said. So with an attitude of giving it a try, I invited you through Jiangwen. I really didn't expect that after the center was destroyed, I became much more low-key. But Ancestor Xianchen still connected the Fire Wolf Gang and the Red Conches to our center from clues. Miss Luan said with a smile. Chapter 2996. Haha. If you have something to say, just say it. Miss Luan didn't continue talking to the Xianchen ancestor and asked directly. Because Jiangwen had earned a lot of money recently, he directly entered Miss Luan's line of sight from the leader of the northern branch of the Fire Wolf Gang. It just so happened that the Xianchen ancestor sent someone to invite Jiangwen, and the leader behind him to Five Elements sect as guests. So Miss Luan appeared. If it was an ordinary sect, Miss Luan definitely wouldn't appear, but Five Elements sect was different. Miss Luan had also heard of this sect that stood at the top of the pyramid of the cultivation world, so she agreed to come. And this was the first time Jiangwen saw the biggest boss of the Fire Wolf Gang and Red Conch. However, being able to enter the eyes of the biggest boss meant that it wasn't far from Jiangwen's meteoric rise. Great! The Xianchen ancestor nodded and said, I've been in contact with little brother Jiangwen before. It just so happens that Professor Yin wants to use a few practitioners to experiment and create a new type of modified biohuman. I can provide 2 practitioners here. Oh, what's the condition? Miss Luan wasn't stupid and asked directly. After all, it was a very difficult thing to find practitioners to experiment on. Which practitioner would be willing to accept the modification so easily? However, it was useless for ordinary people. Professor Yin had already modified many times and still couldn't achieve a breakthrough, so he could only find practitioners. Moreover, practitioners were very strong. If they didn't accept the modification voluntarily, no matter how strong the Fire Wolf Gang was, they wouldn't be able to capture a few practitioners to obediently cooperate with the modification. I heard that the Fire Wolf Gang is good at turning the dead back to life. As long as there are living tissues in the body, they can turn this person into a biohuman. Is that so? The Xianchen ancestor asked. That's right. What do you want to do? Miss Luan didn't deny it. However, this technology is quite advanced. It's still difficult for Yin Siren to do it himself. This is also the reason why I'm looking for Miss Luan. The Xianchen ancestor said. If Miss Luan can do it herself, I'm afraid things will become much simpler. How about it, Miss Luan, can you help me? Who do you want to revive and modify? Miss Luan did not agree, nor did she refuse. She only asked. She was also estimating the bargaining chips, trying to see how much benefit this matter would bring to her. It's a grand disciple of mine. He was beaten into a vegetative state and is currently unconscious. As long as he wakes up, the attribute structure in his body remains the same. To put it bluntly, it's to retain the strength of a cultivator. The person that Patriarch Xianchen was referring to was naturally Tagonlong. Now that the dark seed Tianchan had failed to accept the inheritance, Patriarch Xianchen had no choice but to target Tagonlong again. However, there was no hope for him to concoct the 4th-rank Great Revitalizing Pill. It was something that was out of his reach. He had no other choice but to think of other ideas. After thinking for a while, he focused on the Fire Wolf Gang and prepared to make a deal with them. Definitely not. What Patriarch Xianchen did not expect was that Miss Luan rejected his idea with one sentence. If you want your granddisciple to come back to life and have extraordinary strength, that's not a problem. However, if you want to retain the attributes and strength in his body, at least for now, I can't do it. If it's a normal person, I can give it a try, but the key is that your granddisciple is already seriously injured. I have to change some of his genes to revive him. Who knows if the attributes in his body will change? Miss Luan directly rejected this kind of thing that could not be done, lest there be problems in the future. Is that so? Patriarch Xianchen was a little disappointed. So I said, try using a cultivator that we provide here first. I've already said that a living person is different from a dead person. There's no comparison. Miss Luan shook her head and refused. Can't you think of a way? Patriarch Xianchen was a little unwilling. Whatever price you want, just name it. I really can't. Miss Luan shook her head and said indifferently, you also know the style of our center. We can cooperate with others, but we won't easily agree to things that we can't do. Professor Luan, Patriarch Xianchen, I heard a rumor. I don't know if you want to hear it? Jiang Wen suddenly interrupted. Oh, what rumor? Patriarch Xianchen looked at Jiang Wen and asked quickly. He naturally wouldn't think that Jiang Wen would talk about something unrelated to this matter at this time. If he spoke at this time, it must be related to Taganlong's injury. Some time ago, Lin Yi was poisoned and had his meridians and dantian destroyed. I'm sure you're familiar with this, right? Jiang Wen asked. But Lin Yi recovered later on. Do you know why? I've heard of this, but do you know why? Patriarch Xuanchen's expression became solemn as he looked at Jiang Wen. I have a rough guess, Jiang Wen said proudly. According to my sources, after Lin Yi was injured, he was helpless, and a large group of subordinates rushed to Lin Yi's villa. This also means that the news of Lin Yi being poisoned and injured was true. Lin Yi shouldn't be faking it. Something really happened to him. Of course. No matter what, I was the one who gave the poison. It would be strange if it didn't work. Patriarch Xianchen nodded and said without hiding anything. Oh, this news surprised Jiang Wen. Patriarch Xianchen, you're also Lin Yi's opponent? Then why isn't Lin Yi dead yet? However, Jiang Wen was puzzled. How powerful was the Five Elements sect? Was there a need to poison Lin Yi if they wanted to kill him? They could just send out a couple of masters and Lin Yi would be dead. Due to some reasons, my men and I can't do it ourselves. Patriarch Xianchen waved his hand and said awkwardly, let's not talk about this for now. Continue with your guess. Okay. Back then, Lin Yi had been recuperating in the villa. However, someone came to the villa after that. Jiang Wen said. Who? Patriarch Xianchen frowned. He was a little unhappy that Jiang Wen was keeping him in suspense. Sun Jingyi, Jiang Wen said. Our family was once one of the 4 big and 5 small noble families in the secular world. We know very well what's special about the Sun family. That is, the people of the Sun family have a special incantation that can heal others. Chapter 2997. So she had this ability? In the eyes of the Xianchen ancestor, the level of the common world noble house was very low. He didn't care about it at all. He didn't even care about the matters of the hidden world, so he really did ignore the matters of the common Sun family. According to my guess, that must be the case. After all, only Sun Jingyi had this ability back then. No one else could. Plus, Lin Yi's dantian is destroyed, so he can't use pills. Jiang Wen nodded. Jiang Wen, you've said so much. You want me to find that Sun Jingyi to heal my grand disciple? Xianchen ancestor asked. Sun Jingyi's definitely not going to make it. House Sun's arts can only heal one person. And after that, she'll only be able to heal that person for the rest of her life. It's useless even if you capture her. Jiang Wen waved his hand. What I mean is, you can find someone else from the Sun family and try. That's a good idea. The Xianchen ancestor nodded. He wasn't too willing to capture Sun Jingyi. After all, he'd already made an agreement with Boss Bai. Although Sun Jingyi wasn't Boss Bai's student, she was still someone that Little 1 and Little 11 had touched last time. If he touched her again, it would be equivalent to not giving Boss Bai face, and it wouldn't be right. So, it was best to find someone else to replace her. I'm just saying. The specifics will depend on you, Xianchen ancestor, Jiang Wen said. Jiang Wen said. But my idea is worth the 2 test subjects, right? Oh, that's true. Since that's the case, you guys can modify those 2 test subjects. The Xianchen ancestor had wanted to use Zhao Guangyin and Mian Huachuan to exchange for some benefits, but he had to admit that Jiang Wen's suggestion was indeed very valuable. Miss Luan looked at Jiang Wen with praise. She felt that Jiang Wen was developing well, and that he was good at making money and negotiating with people. The 2 test subjects were supposed to pay the price, but Jiang Wen tricked them with a piece of information. Siren, find a chance to see if the two test subjects meet the requirements, Miss Luan said to Professor Een. Yes, Ancestral Master Luan. Professor Yin's name was Siren, but he actually addressed Miss Luan as Ancestral Master. Miss Luan was actually Professor Yin's master's master. However, Jiang Wen seemed to have known about this a long time ago, so he didn't mind. Elder Xianchen was a little surprised. In his opinion, even if Miss Luan knew these science and technology, she was probably only about the same as Professor Een. He didn't expect that as the leader of the center, she was actually Professor Yin's teacher. Miss Luan brought Jiang Wen and the professor to rest, waiting for the two test subjects to come. Xianchen, on the other hand, went to investigate House Sun. After learning that Shi was fine, Linny decided to go to Star West Village. Linny went next door to ask Han Xiaoqiao when Han Jingjing could come out of isolation, but Han Xiaoqiao said that it would take at least a month, so Linny decided to go back to Star West Village and open the third stone door first. After all, Han Jingjing's isolation didn't have a specific time, at least a month or so. This meant that it might not be finished in a month or so Linny would have returned from Star West Village long ago. At night, Linny called Mengyao, Yushu, and his followers together, preparing to talk to them about going to Star West Village. This kind of solemn atmosphere made everyone understand what decision Linny was going to make. Tomorrow, I plan to go back to Star West Village, Linny said to everyone. Linny, didn't you recover? Why do you want to go back to Star West Village? Mengyao paused and asked curiously. I don't have much to do recently, mainly. I need money. When I go back, I want to discuss with my old man if I can go back to my old business and earn some quick money, Linny said, a little embarrassed. This was actually one of Lin Yi's secondary goals. Fatty Lai didn't say anything recently, but Linny could feel that he was having a hard time. His villa by Lidhua River was sold, and his car was changed to a second-hand business car. This was enough to show how difficult it was for Fatty Lai. So, as the real boss of Miracle Dr. Guan's medical company, Linny had to do something. Moreover, although Xiaoke didn't say anything, Linny could imagine how difficult it was for Xiaoke's orphanage. It was okay to take in orphans, but most of them had congenital diseases. They were either disabled or had cerebral palsy. The medical fees were endless. Mingyao's mission had come to an end. Now, even if Linny handed in the mission, he couldn't leave the Miss and Shu behind. However, while carrying out this mission, he could still take on some other missions, and it wouldn't delay him. Linny could see that these hidden houses were very powerful. When he wasn't injured, no matter where he was, even if he went to the Heavenly Elixir sect for more than a month, these people didn't dare to come looking for trouble. But once he was injured, even if he was in the villa, these people would still come looking for trouble. So, even if Linny went to do some other missions, as long as he was fine, these hidden houses wouldn't dare to do anything to Mengyao and the others. When he went to the Heavenly Elixir sect, Zhao Qibing was beaten up badly by Yushu, but he didn't dare to say no. Once he was injured, he would jump out and show his fangs. You need money? The miss was slightly stunned. She then remembered about Lin Yi's medical company. Because of Lin Yi's injury, she forgot about it. Now that she thought about it, Lin Yi really did need money. These lackeys actually didn't have a solution. Although they could gather 100 million if they clenched their teeth, it was just a drop in the bucket for the operation of the medical company. It wouldn't be of much use at all. Lin Yi had to find another way to quickly gather a large amount of money. Yes, it's not a shameful thing. What happened to House Lu this time brought too much trouble. Now that my injuries are fine, the next step is to get some money. Lin Yi said. That's right. I'm not a big deal. Then, let Shu go with you? The miss hesitated and said. In fact, she wanted to go herself, but she was too embarrassed to say it. With the miss's personality, naturally, she pushed the responsibility to Shu. Chapter 2998. Who's going? I still have exams to take. Mengyao glared at Yushu. She was a little embarrassed that her thoughts were exposed. Oh, then Shu can go by herself. Yushu blinked and said. Yao Shu, I'll go alone this time. I'm not going to play this time, but to discuss something. I don't think it'll be interesting. Plus, I plan to ride the purple lightning beast. It's faster, so I won't drive. Lin Yi didn't plan on bringing the two girls with him. Lin Yi still had to open the third door. This was a secret, and Lin Yi didn't want people to know about it. The Miss and Shu were trustworthy people, but if they were to come, the lackeys would have to come as well. Linny had no reason to reject them. That's fine, it'll be faster. Shu, you're not allowed to go either. Stay with me for exams. The Miss said calmly, but she was a little disappointed. I'll be back soon. Linny smiled. I won't be gone for long this time. Boss, do we need a few people to go with you? Chikuan asked. No need, just leave a few people to protect Yao Yao and Shu. The others have been out for a while, go home and do your own things. I'll find you guys when I have something to do. Linny rejected with a wave of his hand. All right. Chikuan didn't insist. After all, with Lin Yi's strength, it was inconvenient for him to bring lackeys along. Chen Tian, on the other hand, was apologetic. Boss, out of all of us, only House Yu and House Lu are the wealthiest. Now that House Lu is bankrupt, there's a limit to how much we can help. I'm regretting it now. If I hadn't wasted so much money chasing after Jingyi, I'd be able to take out some more now. Haha. I'm already very grateful for your kind intentions. I'll think of a way to deal with the rest. Linny waved his hand and said nonchalantly. He needed money for everything, and there were only so many ways he could earn it. The pill of life extension and toxin cleansing, on the other hand, couldn't be brought out into the world again. Kong Xiaoming would probably come looking for trouble again if he did, and he might even use the opportunity to cancel the pill. Linny didn't want any trouble, so he had no choice but to turn the pill into the pill of life extension and toxin cleansing. It wasn't time for the practitioner's market yet, either, or Linny could have sold another batch of pills. That would have been a huge relief to him. At night, Linny didn't rest. Instead, he went to the villa's yard. Since he'd decided to leave, the first thing Linny did was to level up his 3 beasts. The purple thunderbolt beast should be faster than before when it reached Earth class, and Linny rode it back with a speed advantage. Feng, come with me back to West Star Village. I'll level you up first. Linny waved at the purple thunderbolt beast. Roar roar dash. The purple thunderbolt beast heard Lin Yi's words and ran over. Linny found a clean place, sat down cross-legged, and started the second stage of the art of dragon mastery to level up the purple thunderbolt beast. This wasn't the first time the purple thunderbolt beast accepted Lin Yi's true chi transfer, so it didn't panic. Instead, it painfully and happily enjoyed the feeling of leveling up. At this moment, the purple thunderbolt beast was at the peak of the late phase of mystic class, and Linny helped it break through to earth class. Then it strength soared until it finally stopped at the peak of the late phase of earth class. Although this was a leveling up from mystic class to earth class, it consumed more true chi than the previous leveling up from yellow class to mystic class. But now that Lin Yi's art of dragon mastery was at the peak of the second stage, the speed of circulation and true chi transfer were incomparable. So it only took a few hours for the purple thunderbolt beast to successfully level up. Next, it was General Weiwu and Skybolt Pig's turn. But General Weiwu was the first spiritual beast to follow Lin Yi, so he gave the opportunity to Skybolt Pig first. Lin Yi didn't care about their modesty. Anyway, it was just a matter of entering Earth class earlier or later. Since Skybolt Pig came first, then it was Skybolt Pig. However, when Lin Yi was leveling up Skybolt Pig, he was shocked by the sparks and lightning not far away. First, Lin Yi thought it was going to rain, but when he looked carefully, it was the horn on the purple thunderbolt beast's forehead that was releasing lightning. Although the intensity of the lightning released by the purple thunderbolt beast didn't seem strong, it was enough to surprise Lin Yi. Could it be that after the purple thunderbolt beast advanced to Earth class, it could also use martial arts? Previously, Lin Yi heard that the purple thunderbolt beast could use martial arts when it was in Earth class, but he didn't expect it to be true. Moreover, it seemed to be a very powerful and flashy lightning martial art. I wonder how strong it is against the enemy. But Lin Yi was currently leveling up Skybolt Pig, so he didn't have time to test the strength of the purple thunderbolt beast's martial art. He could only wait until the matter at hand was over. However, what surprised Lin Yi was that during these few hours of leveling up Skybolt Pig, Lin Yi witnessed how the purple thunderbolt beast's lightning martial art went from jerky to proficient. However, as the purple thunderbolt beast continued to use it, the brightness of the lightning became dimmer and dimmer. It seemed like the purple thunderbolt beast's physical strength and true energy had been depleted. When a human cultivator used martial arts, it would consume a large amount of physical strength and true energy. It seemed like it was the same for spiritual beasts. However, Linny didn't care about it for the time being. Until Skybolt Pig finished leveling up. Linny asked the purple thunderbolt beast, "Little Feng, is this your martial art? Just how powerful is this martial skill of yours?" "Roar, roar," the purple thunderbolt beast said weakly. "GG." Skybolt Pig used his claws to write on the ground and translated, "If you are proficient in using it, it should be about the same as your Earth-class martial arts 9th style. However, there is a limit to the number of times you can use it. You can only use it 2 to 3 times. "Oh, only the 9th style." Linny was a little depressed. If it was the 9th style, there really wasn't much of an advantage. Because all of Linny's little brothers were already Earth-class peak late-phase experts, and they were already preparing to start learning martial arts. Using the 9th style wouldn't be difficult at all. However, Linny's eyes suddenly narrowed and he asked, "You're saying that it's about the same as my Earth-class martial arts 9th style? Are you referring to the Frenzy Fire Fist or the Frenzy Fire 8 Trigram Palm?" Chapter 2999. What? Linny was pleasantly surprised after hearing Skybolt Pig's explanation. The 9th style of Raging Fire 8 Trigrams Palm was something that could instantly kill a heaven ranker. He could only use it once, but the purple electric beast could use it twice or thrice. What kind of concept was this? In other words, even if Linny faced 3 or 4 heaven rankers, he would be able to handle it. Of course, Linny didn't know if he would have an advantage when facing a heaven ranker, but even a heaven ranker would be heavily injured if he were to face 4 attacks from the beast. "Then can you use it proficiently now?" Linny quickly asked. "Roar, roar." The purple electric beast shook its head. "GG." Skybolt Pig translated. Little Feng said that it can't use the full effect of the martial skill. It can only use 70 to 80% of it. It should be able to kill a heaven-ranked middle stage master, but it's a bit weak against a heaven-ranked middle stage master. "It's okay, practice more then." Although Linny was a little disappointed, he was more surprised. Because a spirit beast could use martial skills, then Linny could go on missions and earn money without worry. With the purple electric beast at home, it was equivalent to Linny guarding the place. Even if a heaven ranker came, Linny wouldn't be afraid. In the end, the only one left was General Weiwu. After leveling it up to Earth-class late-phase peak dog, the sky was getting brighter. It was a busy night, but Linny was disappointed that Skybolt Pig and General Weiwu didn't have any martial skills. General Weiwu's lack of martial skills was within Linny's expectations. After all, it wasn't a real spirit beast, but a pseudo-spirit beast that Linny forcefully upgraded. However, Skybolt Pig was a spirit beast with the ability to find treasures, but it didn't have any martial skills either. Linny didn't know why it leveled up. Did it increase its ability to find treasures? In the morning, Linny prepared a sumptuous breakfast. This was Linny's farewell feast with Yao Shu and the others before he left. "After I leave, Chiton and Shintian can stay here. Everyone else can go back." Linny said to everyone, "You all have your own things to do. You can come back when you have something to do." Everyone nodded. What Linny said was the truth. Now that Linny had nothing to do, those clowns had all gone into hiding. As long as Linny's strength was there, no matter where he was, nothing would happen to the family. At least, the hidden forces wouldn't dare to cause trouble. "Jingy, if you don't have anything else to do, go spend time with Faubert. After you met him, you didn't go with him. You only cared about me in the villa." Linny turned to look at Sun Jingy. Sun Jingy had been living in the villa recently. Because of Faubert, Mengyao didn't reject Sun Jingy at all. She prepared a room for her upstairs. But I have to go home first," Sun Jingy said. According to House Sun's rules, after treating someone, the children of House Sun have to go back to the ancestral hall to register their genealogy. If there are no accidents, that person will be the other half of the children of House Sun. Sun Jingy blushed as she said this. She carefully looked at the miss and sighed in relief when she saw that the miss didn't have any other expression. Linny was slightly taken aback. He didn't expect House Sun to have this rule. He quickly said, "Jingy, I'll go visit Elder Sun after I come back. I'll tell him about us." Since this was House Sun's rule, Linny had feelings for Sun Jingy. He naturally had to give Sun Jingy an explanation. However, what made Linny feel relieved was that the Miss and Shu didn't show any dissatisfaction. When Sun Jingy came, they showed great dislike towards her. However, they were very friendly towards Sun Jingyi. This was probably because Sun Jingyi saved him and was Faubert and Grandma Sun's daughter. Jingyi responded softly, blushing a little. Actually, if there's time this time, Linny, it'd be best if you brought Jingyi back. Meng Yao said. Of course, if you can't make it this time, you can tell Grandpa Lin first. Okay. Linny nodded and looked at the miss gratefully. Her personality seemed to have changed a little. Meng Yao was a little embarrassed by Lin Yi's gaze. She said, Jingyi has done so much for you and she likes to be with you. Shu and I are very happy to see that, but we still need to tell Xiao about this. That's true. I'll go to the Ice Palace soon and talk to Xiao about this personally. I'll tell her about Jingyi and Xinyan. Linny didn't feel pressured towards the Ice Palace anymore. Although it couldn't be said that Lin Yi's strength was above the Ice Palace, it was because Lin Yi had stepped into Sky Class, and the distance between him and Rock Candy was getting closer and closer. In front of her, he didn't have that unreachable feeling anymore. Sun Jingyi lowered her head, too shy to say anything. Even she didn't think that things would go so smoothly between her and Lin Yi. After saying goodbye to everyone, Lin Yi rode the purple lightning beast and disappeared in front of everyone's eyes. It was only dawn, and there weren't many people and cars out there. Lin Yi and the purple lightning beast took a secluded path, so no one noticed them. At the same time in the Snowy Valley, there were two uninvited guests today. The disciples of the Snowy Valley had stopped a car in the Snowy Valley. This is the Snowy Valley. If you two are here to explore or to travel, please stop. The patrolling disciples stopped Boss Tang's car. Boss Tang didn't dare act rashly. This was the Snowy Valley, a place that was much stronger than the hidden sections. Even a normal patrolling disciple had the same strength as him. Boss Tang said respectfully, Young warrior, we are here to look for someone. This is the Snowy Valley, right? Yes, this is the Snowy Valley. Who are you looking for? The patrolling disciple nodded. His expression softened when he heard that Boss Tang was looking for someone. We are looking for Tang Yun. May I ask if she is here? Boss Tang asked. Chapter 3000. I am Tang Yun's father. And this is Tang Yun's brother. We are from the Hidden Tang family, and we are here to visit her. Boss Tang was shocked and quickly explained. What? You said you are Elder Tang's father? The patrolling disciple was stunned. The words of the two people in the car made him dumbfounded. Didn't Tang Yun's parents live in the Snowy Valley? Who in the Snowy Valley didn't know? These two people could have pretended to be Tang Yun's father? Wasn't this exposed in an instant? However, the patrolling disciple didn't expose them on the spot. Since these people were using the name of Tang Yun's father to deceive them, they had to take them down first and see what sinister motives they had. Yes. Boss Tang didn't know what the patrolling disciple was thinking, so he nodded immediately. The disciple said calmly, You guys wait here for a while, I will go report. All right. Boss Tang nodded. The patrolling disciple took out a piece of paper and stuck it on the windshield of Boss Tang's car. On it was written Patrolling Disciple 19, waiting to report. Boss Tang and Tang Yu didn't know what was going on, so they quietly waited for the patrolling disciple to report back. But what they got was a group of aggressive Snowy Valley disciples. Every single one of these Snow Valley disciples had the strength of an early stage to late stage peak. The moment they arrived, they surrounded Tang Boss and Tang Yu. The two of them didn't even dare to think of resisting. In fact, even if these people weren't Earth class, Boss Tang wouldn't dare act rashly. After all, this was the Snowy Valley's territory. No matter how arrogant he was, he wouldn't come to the Snowy Valley to show off. Wouldn't that be suicide? Plus, he was here to acknowledge his family, so he had to show a friendly attitude. What is the meaning of this? Boss Tang didn't think that Tang Yun wouldn't come, but a group of Snowy Valley disciples, and they didn't look like they had good intentions. Take them down first, and wait for me to pass the message to Elder Tang before making a decision. The one on duty today was another elder of the Snow Valley, Elder Chan. Because this matter involved Tang Yun, he wouldn't make a decision on his own. Instead, he took down the two people who claimed to be Tang Yun's father and brother, and waited for Tang Yun to deal with this matter. Originally, Boss Tang wanted to defend himself, but when he heard that Elder Chan wanted to pass the message to Tang Yun, he let out a sigh of relief. Once Tang Yun arrived, everything would be easy to discuss. Therefore, eldest brother Tang gave Tang Yu a meaningful look. The two of them did not resist and obediently followed the disciples of the Snow Valley to the reception room of the Snow Valley, where they were temporarily detained. Tang Yun was in the middle of training, and the Grand Elder's sudden visit surprised Tang Yun. Normally, the Grand Elder wouldn't come to find Tang Yun personally. Even if there was something, the disciple on duty would pass it on. She came here personally, so something big must have happened. For example, if Lin Yi came or if someone related to Lin Yi came. Tang Yun greets the Grand Elder. Tang Yun stood up and greeted respectfully. Elder Tang, there are two people outside the Snow Valley who claim to be your father and brother. Do you know these two people? The Grand Elder didn't hide anything and asked straightforwardly. After all, the person who came was not Lin Yi, so she didn't need to hide anything. However, the rule of the Snow Valley was that if someone came to find Tang Yun, they must first report to the Grand Elder. This was because the Grand Elder was afraid that Lin Yi would directly pass the message over, so she added this rule. This was also the reason why she came personally today. My father? My brother? Tang Yun was slightly stunned. Doesn't my father live in the Snow Valley? And I have a younger brother, no older brother? Then these two people are liars? The Grand Elder nodded and said, Then I will get people to teach these two liars a lesson and chase them out of the Snow Valley. Wait. Tang Yun suddenly thought of something and said, I'll go see them first. All right, then you go. In the guest hall I won't go. You deal with it as you see fit. The Grand Elder said to Tang Yun. Okay. Tang Yun got up and left the room, walking towards the guest hall. The Grand Elder was very satisfied with Tang Yun recently. Although Lin Yi came last time, Tang Yun didn't recognize him and didn't do anything inappropriate, which made the Grand Elder feel relieved. But the only thing she was worried about was that Tang Yun's heartless art cultivation had encountered an obstacle. If the heartless art was not cultivated to the extreme, then it would be impossible to cross the gap between the peak late stage of heaven stage and the great perfection. Although the Grand Elder was also at the peak late stage of heaven stage and was infinitely close to the great perfection, he was still not at the great perfection. Although Tang Yun was an inheritor and there was no level barrier under the heavenly Tao, there was no level barrier between the peak late stage of heaven stage and the great perfection late stage of heaven stage. This was a kind of accumulation of strength and the cultivator's own understanding. It had nothing to do with the level barrier. If the level of the heartless art could not be reached, then the last step would not be taken. This was what the Grand Elder was most worried about. Tang Yun walked all the way to the guest hall and saw Tang Yun and Tang Yu surrounded by the disciples of the Snow Valley. She had vaguely guessed who these two people were, but when she saw them with her own eyes, a complicated expression flashed across her face. Disciples of the Snow Valley leave. Tang Yun waved her hand and said to the disciples in the room, Yes, Elder Tang. Seeing that Tang Yun had come, the disciples also left the guest hall respectfully. At this moment, only Tang Yu and Tang Yun were left in the guest hall. Tang Yun, I didn't expect you to be so powerful. You are already an elder of the Snow Valley. As your father, I am really happy and proud for you. Tang Yun didn't know what to say. After a long time he finally said this. Of course, if these words were said by other father and daughter, it would be very normal. But when it came to Tang Yun and Tang Yun, it was really a bit funny. What are you doing here? Tang Yun's face, other than the complicated expression when she first entered the room, had already returned to her indifferent expression. She had cultivated the heartless art, and her whole person was cold. Even when facing Lin Yi, her whole aura would not change. Although Tang Yun did not want to, there was no other way. This was the mantra. The more she cultivated it, the more her aura would change. Chapter 3001. Birthday Banquet? Tang Yun suddenly remembered what happened in the hidden house Tang. Lin Yi held her hand and broke off with the hidden house Tang. She was helpless at that time, but standing beside Lin Yi gave her a sense of security. But now he had forgotten her. The two of them had become impossible. She didn't think that the person who came to her door was the father who abandoned his wife and daughter, the father who cut off all ties with her. Tang Yui was a little embarrassed. He looked at Tang Boss and then at Tang Yun. He sighed and said, Tang Yun sis, I know you have grievances in your heart, but this person is still our father. That's right. I know. Tang Yun nodded. She had a good impression of Tang Yun. Since Tang Yun had spoken, Tang Yun didn't say anything else. She only said, "But you guys are here. What do you want?" "Sister Tang Yun, it's like this. I'm afraid you've received the news, right? It's about Senior Lin Yi." Although Tang Yun had a good relationship with Tang Yun, they had only met for a short time. Tang Yun wasn't sure if Tang Yun would give him face, so he was careful when he spoke. "Lin Yi? Senior? What news?" Tang Yun didn't understand. Why was Lin Yi a senior in Tang Yu's mouth? Even if Tang Yun saw Lin Yi in the Snow Valley and knew some of Lin Yi's heroic deeds, such as how he could instantly kill a heaven stage when he was an earth stage, there was no need to call him senior, right? Tang Yu was stunned. He didn't know the inside story of Tang Yun going to the Snow Valley. He only knew from some news that Tang Yun went to the Snow Valley and became an important elder of the Snow Valley. He didn't know the rest. But since Tang Yun was important in the Snow Valley and the disciples called her Elder Tang, how could she not know about Lin Yi? So Tang Yun wasn't sure if Tang Yun didn't want to talk to him, or if she really didn't know. "Tang Yun sis, you don't know?" Tang Yu paused and looked at Tang Yun. He wanted to see if she didn't want to say it, or if she really didn't know. Unfortunately, although Tang Yun asked, her expression didn't change. She was still 1,000 miles away. "I've been in closed-door training the whole time. I just came out when I heard that you guys were here. Of course I didn't know." Tang Yun shook her head. "Tell me what happened to Lin Yi." Although Tang Yun really wanted to know about Lin Yi, she was very calm. She didn't want Tang Yu and Boss Tang to notice anything. "It's like this." Tang Yu didn't hide anything. Since Tang Yun asked him to, he told Tang Yun about how Lin Yi got injured, poisoned, crippled, and then miraculously recovered. He also told Tang Yun about how he destroyed the hidden house Zhao. Tang Yun was shocked. Lin Yi was already a sky-class early phase master? It hasn't been long since I last saw him. His leveling speed is really fast. Moreover, the hidden house Zhao was already destroyed? Thinking about it, the hidden house Zhao was a strong enemy that Lin Yi provoked when he was in Songshan City. She didn't expect that Lin Yi had already turned it into a stepping stone. Tang Yun was sincerely happy for Lin Yi. Although Tang Yun knew that she and Lin Yi probably didn't have any interaction, she still imagined that even if she practiced the Heartless Arts and became an inheritor and ascended to the Heavenly Tao, if Lin Yi also ascended to the Heavenly Tao, they could still meet at that time. However, the fact that Lin Yi was poisoned and his meridians and dantian were destroyed shocked Tang Yun. Although she knew that Lin Yi had self-recovery ability after being injured, could he still recover when his dantian and meridians were destroyed? At least in Tang Yun's understanding of practitioners, this kind of injury couldn't be healed. But Lin Yi actually recovered, which made her feel relieved. At the same time, she was glad that she came to see Tang Yun. It was a good thing at least she knew about Lin Yi. Tang Yun's words made Tang Yun's attitude towards the two soften. Maybe it was because she was happy for Lin Yi. Tang Yun nodded and said, "I see. I understand. Then tell me your purpose of coming here?" Tang Yun looked at Tang Yun. The matter of recognizing relatives should be brought up by Tang Yun. After all, Tang Yun was Tang Yun's father. As a brother, he couldn't say that he came to recognize his sister, right? That would be a bit impolite. After all, Tang Yun was the leader of this matter. Tang Yun wasn't Tang Yun's brother from the same mother, but a half-brother. Tang Yun was a bit embarrassed, but he knew that this kind of thing could only be brought up by him, so he said, "It's like this, Tang Yun. I want you to go back to the hidden house Tang, to recognize your ancestors." "Oh." Tang Yun heard Tang Yun's words and suddenly felt that it was a bit funny. "Mr. Tang, I have nothing to do with the hidden Tang family. Moreover, you were the one who kicked me out. Why should I go back?" This. Tang Yun was speechless. Yes, there was no practical benefit for Tang Yun to return to the Tang family. She was already an elder of the Snowy Valley and had a lot of power. She didn't care about hiding her identity in the Tang family. Secondly, he was the one who kicked Tang Yun out. Now that Tang Yun came back, it was indeed a bit unreasonable. "If there is nothing else, please go back. Since you don't want to tell the truth, then there is no need for us to talk anymore." Tang Yun looked at Tang Yun coldly. Tang Yun looked at Boss Tang coldly and said, naturally, she didn't think that Boss Tang had a conscience and came over to acknowledge his family. She was afraid that he had some ulterior motive. Tang Yun looked at Tang Yun for help because he realized that he was a bit guilty in front of Tang Yun. Although Tang Yun didn't show her strength, her aura and the attitude of the Snowy Valley disciples were enough to show that Tang Yun's strength was not ordinary. Otherwise, she wouldn't be an elder of the Snowy Valley. Perhaps Tang Yun's strength had already surpassed Tang Taizheng's, so Tang Yun didn't dare to speak in front of her. Tang Yun had no choice but to bite the bullet and said, "Sister Tang Yun, I know that after I said these words you must have a bad impression of me. But sometimes there is no other way. As a disciple of the Hidden Tang family, there are some things that I have to say. So please forgive me." Chapter 3002. Tang Yu heard Tang Yun call him brother, and was stunned. He couldn't believe his ears and looked at Tang Yun in disbelief. "You? What did you call me? You're willing to recognize me as your brother?" "Brother Yu, my birth mother said that you are a good person, so no matter what happens between me and the Hidden Tang family, I will still recognize you as my brother." Tang Yun nodded and said, "So if there's anything, just say it." Okay. Tang Yu was pleasantly surprised and quickly said, "Actually, this matter is related to Lin Yi." "Lin Yi? What about him?" Tang Yun frowned. "What's his relationship with your family?" "It's not a relationship, it's our Hidden Tang family. We're afraid that Lin Yi will come looking for trouble." As he said that, Tang Yu told Tang Yun about Grandpa Tang's worry for Lin Yi after seeing the Hidden Zhao family being destroyed. However, Tang Yun didn't know whether to laugh or cry after hearing it. She knew Lin Yi's personality very well. Not to mention the Hidden Tang family, it was a family that had some relationship with her. Even if there wasn't a relationship, she wouldn't take the initiative to provoke Lin Yi, and Lin Yi wouldn't have the mood to cause trouble. After all, although the Tang family was unhappy, it wasn't to the point where Lin Yi had to remember to settle the score. "You don't have to worry about this, Lin Yi won't be so bored to find trouble with you. As long as you don't provoke him, nothing will happen." Tang Yun waved her hand and said, "If that's the case, then can you help me make a phone call? Then we'll go and apologize." Boss Tang was relieved when he heard that Lin Yi wouldn't settle accounts. However, he still wanted to build a good relationship with Lin Yi, so he wanted Tang Yun to be his bridge. Humans were like this. Often, after one thing subsided, they would think of something else. They would never be satisfied. Previously, Boss Tang was worried that Lin Yi would cause trouble for the Hidden Tang family. Now that the problem was solved, Boss Tang began to think about whether the Hidden Tang family could get any benefits from Lin Yi. Tang Yu blushed a little. He didn't expect his father to ask this question directly. It made him lose face. After all, he didn't want the little bit of kinship he had cultivated with Tang Yun to be washed away by benefits. Tang Yun's face changed at Boss Tang's words. It wasn't that she didn't want to help, but she couldn't. What if eldest brother Tang went to look for Lin Yi? That he was the son-in-law of the Hidden Tang family? Then wouldn't Lin Yi be very puzzled? Since when did he have a girlfriend with the surname Tang? Tang Yun absolutely wouldn't allow this to happen. However, Tang Yun was afraid that if she refused, with Boss Tang's personality, he would still secretly look for Lin Yi. So Tang Yun hesitated for a moment and said, "Don't bother Lin Yi. He has his own things to do. If you bother him, he might kill you. If that happens, I can't do anything about it. If you want to find a backer, just say that Elder Tang of Snow Valley is your daughter." Tang Yun didn't want to get involved in these things, especially when it was the Hidden Tang family that abandoned her. But now, in order not to disturb Lin Yi, she could only say this to Boss Tang. That's great." Boss Tang was overjoyed. He originally wanted to take the roundabout route to save the country, and let Lin Yi become the backer of the Hidden Tang family. This way, the Hidden Tang family could sit on the fishing platform in the hidden world. But now, with the backing of an ancient sect, it was much more useful than Lin Yi. No matter how powerful Lin Yi was, he was only famous in the hidden world. In the ancient world, it was nothing. As long as Tang Yun was willing to support the Hidden Tang family, then there was nothing for the Hidden Tang family to worry about. Yes, Tang Yun was a little dispirited. It turned out that her biological father coming here was fake. His real purpose was to seek benefits. So Tang Yun didn't have the mood to chat with him. She just needed to let him achieve his goal. "Sister Tang Yun, I'm really sorry. Tang Yun sighed and said helplessly, "It's not your fault." Tang Yun shook her head. "If there's nothing else, you can leave. I still need to train." "Then, let's take a picture together? I'll hang it in the house. That way, people will know about our hidden Tang family's powerful background." Boss Tang didn't see Tang Yun's interest waning. He rubbed his hands and asked excitedly, "Okay." Tang Yun agreed without thinking. Only by letting the hidden Tang family feel that their background was enough would they not bother Lin Yi. Tang Yun didn't want to tell the truth to someone like Boss Tang, so she could only temporarily satisfy his greed. Tang Yu helped Boss Tang and Tang Yun take a photo together, and Tang Yu and Tang Yun took a photo together. Boss Tang was very satisfied. Yun, then you practice well here. I won't disturb you anymore. I have to go back to the family and report to your grandfather." "Oh, okay," Tang Yun said faintly. Dad, aren't we here to bring Auntie Xiaoming back?" Tang Yun frowned and reminded. Boss Tang glared at Tang Yun and pretended to be very concerned. "Your Auntie Xiaoming is Yun Yun's birth mother. It's natural for her to stay here with Yun Yun. How can she go back? How much will she miss Yun Yun when she goes back?" "Ah!" Tang Yun was stunned. He couldn't help but smile bitterly in his heart. How could he not know that his father didn't want to bring Auntie Xiaoming back? He already had Tang Yun's support. It was no longer important whether Auntie Xiaoming returned to the hidden Tang family or not. If she went back, it might cause his mother and Houseu to be unhappy. But if she didn't go back, he would have Tang Yun's support and wouldn't offend the hidden Houseu. Boss Tang had a good plan. But Tang Yun couldn't say anything. After all, he wasn't the head of the family. He could only helplessly say to Tang Yun, "I'll go see Auntie Xiaoming. When I was young, Auntie Xiaoming was very good to me. She was like her own son." "Okay." Tang Yun nodded and agreed. She looked at Boss Tang. "Are you going? Then, I'll go and see." Boss Tang blamed Tang Yun for being a busybody. He could just go back. Why would he go and see Xiaoming? What if she wanted to go back to the hidden Zhao family after seeing her? "You don't need to go." How could Tang Yun not see through Boss Tang's thoughts? She was completely disappointed in him and directly refused. "Okay. Yun, I'll listen to whatever you say," Boss Tang quickly said. He was relieved in his heart. Tang Yun was helpless. He thought that his father was too embarrassing. But he couldn't do anything. He silently followed Tang Yun and walked into the Snow Valley. Chapter 3004. "I'm not angry. I'm helping the hidden Tang family out of respect for you and Little Ming's mother. I have nothing to do with that person." Tang Yun's voice was cold and emotionless. She had no feelings for the hidden Tang family to begin with, and it was even more so after practicing the heartless arts. Sigh. Tang Yu sighed and smiled bitterly. "I'm already very happy that you acknowledge me. I can't force anything else. Oh right, tell your father not to look for Lin Yi. Otherwise, if something bad happens, it won't be something we can control." Tang Yun reminded him again. "Okay, I'll tell my father." Tang Yu nodded. The two of them walked to Little Ming's place. Little Ming was very happy to see Tang Yu come to see her, but when she found out that Boss Tang was also here, she couldn't help but feel disappointed. Tang Yun saw this and didn't say anything. After all, Little Ming still had some feelings for Boss Tang. After so many years, she followed him and didn't have any contact with other men. It wasn't easy to completely forget Boss Tang. But in Tang Yun's eyes, it was almost impossible for the two of them to be together again, unless Boss Tang's personality changed. Tang Yu and Little Ming chatted for a while and left. After all, Boss Tang was still waiting, so Tang Yun didn't send him off. She found a disciple to send him off, and she stayed to chat with Little Ming's mother. There weren't many opportunities like this. Tang Yun spent most of her time in the Snow Valley cultivating, and Wang Yuming and Wang Yujia's personalities were different. Wang Yujia was overbearing and unruly. She walked around the Snow Valley and could see Tang Yun at any time, but Wang Yuming followed the rules of the Snow Valley and didn't walk around as she pleased. Eldest brother Tang happily rushed back to the hidden Tang family. Tang Yu could only helplessly follow him back to the hidden Tang family. Grandfather Tang let out a sigh of relief when he found out about the outcome of the matter. However, at the same time, he prepared to host a banquet, and invite the elders of the other hidden families to celebrate the fact that the Hidden Tang family had the backing of the ancient sect, Snow Valley. Of course, it was just a celebration to show off in front of others. Linny naturally didn't know that his action of destroying the Hidden Zhao family had caused such a huge confusion to the Hidden Tang family. At this moment, Linny had already arrived at the West Star Mountain village riding Little Wind. It happened to be evening. When Linny appeared in his courtyard, Lin Dongfang noticed him. "You're back." When Lin Dongfang saw Linny riding a spirit beast back, he wasn't surprised at all. He didn't express any surprise towards the spirit beast either. Instead, he asked in a very normal manner, "Yes, old man, you knew I was coming back?" Linny was stunned. He didn't expect Old Man Lin's expression to be so calm. "When I heard that you were crippled, I thought that you would return. However, now that you've recovered and returned, I am surprised," Old Man Lin said as he came to the purple electric tempest beast's side. He patted it up and down and said, "This little thing looks pretty good. Can it be eaten?" Oh, Linny was instantly speechless. The purple electric tempest beast had never seen Old Man Lin before. When it heard that Old Man Lin was going to summon it, it immediately showed hostility. It widened its eyes and roared, "Roar, roar! What are you roaring for?" Old Man Lin pulled the purple electric tempest beast in front of him, which gave the purple electric tempest beast a huge fright. What kind of great strength was this? Being pulled like this, it almost tumbled down. One should know that the purple electric tempest beast was very strong. However, this seemingly weak old man in front of it was able to pull it down. One could imagine how strong his strength was. The purple electric tempest beast immediately realized that this person in front of it was an existence that couldn't be provoked. It subconsciously wanted to take 2 steps back. However, it realized that Old Man Lin's hand was on its horn, preventing it from moving at all. Roar, roar, roar. The purple electric tempest beast was instantly anxious. Suddenly, a flash of lightning flashed on its horn. It followed Old Man Lin's hand and hit Old Man Lin's body. It can even discharge electricity? Old Man Lin looked at the purple electric tempest beast strangely. He didn't care about the lightning at all. It was as if the lightning didn't even hit him. After being hit by the purple electric tempest beast's lightning martial skill, Old Man Lin was completely fine. He could even speak. "This electricity is such a waste. It can even light up a light bulb." Linny clicked his tongue. However, Linny was already used to Old Man Lin's heaven-defying strength since he was young. However, this time he was quite shocked. The purple electric tempest beast's lightning martial skill could instantly kill a peak mid-stage heaven-class expert. However, it was actually nothing to Old Man Lin. Previously, Linny felt that Old Man Lin was extremely powerful. He was stronger than Old Man Lin, and that was why he had never beaten him before. Now, it seemed like Old Man Lin wasn't just average strength. He was super strong. "Alright, old man, stop teasing it. Along the way, Little Phone carried me back, and it was quite tiring." "It is quite loyal," Linny said to Old Man Lin. "Oh." Old Man Lin let go of his hand and didn't make things difficult for the purple electric tempest beast anymore. However, the purple electric tempest beast was so scared that it hid in a corner and didn't even dare to breathe loudly. It thought to itself, Linny's family is indeed terrifying. Linny was already a terrifying existence, and it didn't expect that there was an old man in his family who was even more terrifying than him. He didn't even react to the lightning martial skill, and he was extremely powerful. "You are back. Are you going up the mountain?" Old Man Lin looked at Linny and asked. "Yes, I have completed the 2nd level. I'm going to go and have a look." Linny nodded. "Is everything settled in East Ocean City?" Old Man Lin asked. "Yes, but there was a problem. One of my younger sisters was captured and sent to the Heavenly Elixir sect," Linny said. "Chun-Shi?" Old Man Lin asked. "I say, old man, how do you know everything? Did you install a surveillance camera on me?" Linny was stunned. He realized that he couldn't hide anything from Old Man Lin. "No, I just paid more attention to you recently. Your growth has finally accelerated, and I am very pleased," Old Man Lin said. "When you come back next time, I will probably be able to tell you some things." "Oh." Linny was slightly stunned. He then asked, "You can't tell me now?" "Not yet." Old Man Lin shook his head. Chapter 3005. By the way, Are there any missions recently? Linny changed the topic. Are you short of money? Old Lin looked at Linny. I thought you had already adapted to a comfortable life. My life now is not as comfortable as it used to be. Compared to the life of an assassin, it's child's play. It's just that my strength has increased, and I don't feel that it's that dangerous as a cultivator anymore. Linny smiled bitterly and said, Every world has its own rules. If you don't step into it, you'll never understand it. Since you want to take on missions, I can help you think about it. Of course, don't take on the missions from before. I'll help you find some high-end missions with high pay. Old Lin agreed. All right, the more the better, Linny replied. Of course, don't make it too difficult. I don't want to die for money. Oh, I'll help you check, Old Lin said nonchalantly. That night, Linny left Little Feng at Old Lin's place while he rushed to West Star Mountain. After the second stone door opened, Linny remembered that there was a stone tablet beside the third stone door that was completely different from the first stone door. There was a line of words written in seal script on it. You can open the stone door after mastering the second level of the Art of Dragon Mastery. In this way, Linny didn't have to abide by the 5-year promise on the night of the full moon. As long as he mastered the second level of the Art of Dragon Mastery, he could open the third stone door. Now that Linny had mastered the second level of the Art of Dragon Mastery, he should be able to enter the stone door smoothly. Linny arrived in front of the Xinyuan cave mansion with ease. Now Linny had a rough idea of what was going on. The Xinyuan cave mansion didn't exist since ancient times, but was built later. Moreover, according to Zhao Yazi, the 5-year promise seemed to be specially prepared for Lin Yi. Lin Yi's heart was full of suspicions. Ever since old Lin kicked him off the cliff, he seemed to have walked into a path that someone had planned for him. Every step he took was controlled by that person. Who was the one who had planned all of this? Of course, that person obviously didn't mean any harm. In fact, he was full of kindness. After all, Lin Yi had all the benefits. Although Lin Yi didn't have a good sect background and didn't have a large amount of treasures for cultivation, it could be said that the Jade Space and the Xinyuan Cave Mansion were enough to make up for the difference. Otherwise, how would Lin Yi be able to step on all the opponents who were stronger than him? This was enough to prove that the things in the Xinyuan Cave Mansion were very powerful. They weren't any weaker than the top inheritances of the ancient sections. No matter how strong Zhang Naipeo was, he was still restrained in the end. And so, Lin Yi admired the person who built the Xinyuan Cave Mansion. He didn't know why this person would help him, and what was the relationship between him and him. After building the Xinyuan Cave Mansion, why didn't he show up? Old Lin probably knew about all of this, or at least part of it. Otherwise, he wouldn't have kicked Lin Yi down. Now that old Lin didn't want to say anything, Lin Yi could only guess in his heart. It wasn't nighttime yet. The last time Lin Yi came here, he had tested it. The stone door couldn't be opened before nighttime. But this time, Lin Yi didn't know if it was possible. The third stone door didn't have a full moon, but the night didn't have to be a full moon. So Lin Yi went up and tried again. Unfortunately, the stone door didn't open. It seemed that even if a full moon wasn't needed, a normal night was still needed. Night was a prerequisite for opening the stone door. This was also within Lin Yi's expectations, but Lin Yi couldn't be sure without testing it. Since it was still early, Lin Yi calmed down and sat cross-legged at the entrance of the cave. He began to condense the forging fire. Slowly waiting for the night to fall, Lin Yi had basically reached a bottleneck on his path of cultivation. The early stage of the Heaven Realm had been completely stabilized, and he was just waiting for an opportunity to advance to the peak of the early stage of the Heaven Realm. It wasn't easy to break through to the peak of the early stage of the Heaven Realm, unless Lin Yi had a chi-gathering pill, or touched the bottleneck in battle. This was also why many cultivators didn't have the opportunity to break through in battle, and could only choose to cultivate in seclusion to find an opportunity. Of course, there were some cultivators who kept taking chi-gathering pills until they reached the peak of the late stage of the Heaven Realm. But then they wouldn't have any more pills to take, and they wouldn't be able to cultivate on their own. This was equivalent to losing the opportunity to advance to the Heavenly Way. Although the chance of advancing to the Heavenly Way sounded very slim, many practitioners still held a glimmer of hope for it. They would not take chi-gathering pills if they could. Besides, other than the Heavenly Elixir sect, which sect would have too many chi-gathering pills? Slowly the night fell. Linny put away the forging fire in his hand and looked up at the dark blue night sky. The moon wasn't a full moon but a crescent moon. Linny stood up and walked towards the direction of the cave. He stopped in front of the stone door in front of the cave and slowly placed his hand on the stone door. He then began to circulate the art of dragon mastery. With his previous experience, Linny was familiar with the process. The stone door recognized its master and slowly rose, revealing the Xinyuan cave mansion inside. The scene inside the stone door was almost the same as the last time Linny came. Linny didn't stay for long and went straight to the second stone door at the back of the hall. The last time Linny opened this stone door, it really wasted a lot of energy. The stone door made the physical strength and vital qi in his body go through a big cycle. But this time Linny had experience. He calmly placed his hand on the second stone door, and then began to circulate the art of dragon mastery. But this time what surprised Linny was that the vital qi in his body wasn't automatically sucked into the stone door to complete a cycle like the last time. Instead, just like the first stone door, Linny circulated the mantra and the stone door slowly opened. Once the stone door opened, Linny and the space in the jade pendant naturally re-established a connection. Seeing the scene in front of him, Linny couldn't help but ask, "Jiao Lao, this second stone door is completely different from the last time?" Chapter 3006. So that's how it is. Then in front of the third stone door, is there a corresponding test? Linny quickly asked after listening. Of course. Zhao Yazi said. It should be similar to the last time. I understand. Linny nodded. He was confident in his heart. He quickly walked into the second stone door, bypassed the high platform, and came to the front of the third stone door. He saw the words on the stone tablet next to the stone door. You can open the stone door after you have achieved the second level of the divine art. Now Linny had advanced to the second level of the art of dragon mastery. There should be no problem opening the stone door. Linny placed his hand on the third stone door and activated the second level of the art of dragon mastery. Just like the last time at this moment, all the qi in Linny's body was mobilized, and his art of dragon mastery was automatically forced to the second level of the art of dragon mastery. At this time there was no need for Linny to activate the mental cultivation method. The mental cultivation method was running on its own, and the energy in Linny's body was slowly injected into the stone door through his palm. However, with the experience of opening the second stone door, Linny did not panic at all. Instead, he faced everything in front of him calmly. As time passed, the qi in Linny's body became less and less, and finally, all of it entered the stone door. Then, the energy that entered the stone door flowed back into Linny's body again. Unsurprisingly, the energy this time was purer than in Linny's body. The stone door once again helped Linny to complete the filtration, and then the energy flowed back into the stone door back and forth. Finally, the third stone door suddenly made a rumbling sound, and the energy flow between Linny and the stone door stopped, and the stone door began to rise slowly. Phew! Linny let out a long breath. It seemed that the third stone door was opened in the same way as the second stone door. Kidlin, what are you waiting for? It's almost daybreak, why don't you go in and see what's inside? Elder Jiao's voice rang in Linny's ear just as he was catching his breath. Linny snapped out of his daze and turned around. He didn't know when, but the sky was already turning white. This time it took longer than the last time because the second level of the art of dragon mastery had more energy than the first, so Linny was pressed for time. It's already so tense this time. Won't it be daybreak next time? Linny was startled and hurriedly asked. If there is a stone door at the peak of the third layer, will I be trapped for 5 years? 5 years. There's no need for that. The 5-year promise is long gone. You just need to wait for a day. At night, you can use the same method to open the door. Zhao Yazi said. That's good. Linny let out a sigh of relief. If he had to wait for 5 years, wouldn't he be waiting for death? Who knew what would happen at home? Behind the third stone door, there was still no grand hall like the first stone door. Similar to the second stone door, it was a very simple room. There was still no light source in the room, but it was still as bright as day. However, Linny was already used to it. In front of the stone room, there was still a small platform. On top of the platform, there was still a small antique box. Other than that, there was nothing in the third stone door. This made Linny extremely disappointed. Linny was already a heaven rank expert. He used to dream of obtaining a powerful heaven-ranked divine weapon behind the third stone door. But now, other than a box, there was nothing else. How could a divine weapon be stored in such a small box? Thinking about it, it wouldn't be able to fit it in. Linny walked towards the platform with flagging interest and took down the antique box. The small box was light as a feather, similar to the previous one. This made Linny even more disappointed. It seemed that other than the mantra, there wouldn't be anything else inside. There's no divine weapon here? Linny asked Zhao Yazi in disappointment. If there is, then there is. If there isn't, then there isn't. What you see is what you get. Zhao Yazi seemed like he didn't know what was behind the stone door, so he said something ambiguous. Linny was speechless. But since he was here, it was always good to have something. Linny could only place his hopes on the fourth stone door. Because in the third stone room, Linny saw the fourth stone door. Perhaps this stone room was set up according to the sky, earth, black and yellow? It was just that he came in 5 years late, so his strength and mantra weren't in sync. Or could it be that in theory, the third stage of the art of dragon mastery was the real mantra that complemented the earth-class mantra? Linny couldn't figure it out. Because every mantra and mantra was linked to different levels of strength, there was no reference. Linny didn't know if his guess was correct. When he came to the front of the fourth stone door, there was another stone tablet. As Linny expected, there was a sentence carved in seal script on it. Third stage perfection, weapon in hand. Use the weapon to hit the door to enter. What? Weapon in hand? Linny was stunned. Wasn't this a trap? Where did the weapon come from? There was only a small box behind the third stone door. Probably contained the mantra. Where could he get a divine weapon? Could it be that the fourth stone door could be opened by simply hitting the door with a heaven-class weapon? It wasn't a very reliable guess, but no matter how he thought about it, he really didn't know where he could get his hands on a divine weapon. Seeing that the sky was about to brighten, Linny didn't stay any longer. He went straight out of the stone door and came to the entrance of the cave. At this moment, the sky had just brightened. Linny waited until the stone door was completely closed before he left and walked towards the village. This time, Linny came back in a low-key manner. The people in the village didn't know. It was already dawn now. If Linny directly went down the mountain with a small box empty-handed, it would inevitably arouse suspicion. Although the Shenyuan cave mansion was at the foot of the other side of the West Star Mountain, and the possibility of being discovered was not high, Linny still decided to hunt a beast on the mountain for caution. Otherwise, Linny's inexplicable return to the West Star Mountain village, and the first thing he did was to go up the mountain instead of going home. Chapter 3007. However, when Linny just entered the mountain range, his face changed slightly and became incomparably dignified. Because Linny felt the aura of a cultivator in the mountain range. It was the fluctuation of true energy. The perception of Heaven Stage was really extraordinary. If it was the previous Linny, he definitely wouldn't have such a great ability. But since he set foot in Heaven Stage, even if he was just an expert in the early stage of Heaven Stage, Linny's perception of the outside world was extremely strong. Moreover, according to Linny's perception, this true energy fluctuation wasn't just from one person. It should be from 2 to 3 people. Linny subconsciously converged his own aura, so that he didn't even have the aura of an ordinary person. He hesitated slightly in his heart. Should he go and see what was going on? After all, the appearance of cultivators here didn't seem to have much to do with Linny at first glance. But on second thought, this was West Star Mountain Village. How could there be cultivators in West Star Mountain Village? This place was remote. There weren't even tourists here. Where did the cultivators come from? Why did this cultivator come? What was he doing here? Linny couldn't figure it out at all. But since he couldn't figure it out, it was even more suspicious. So after hesitating for a moment, Linny still walked forward. The cultivators here were probably coming for him. Otherwise, Linny really couldn't find any other reason. The aura of the cultivators was getting closer and closer. Linny could be sure that there were a total of 3 cultivators in front of him. Moreover, their strength levels weren't low. One of them was an expert at the peak of the early stage of Heaven Stage, and the other 2 were actually experts at the peak of the late stage of Heaven Stage. At this distance, Linny could already sense their strength, because all of them were unleashing their full power without holding anything back. What surprised Lin Yi was that these three people didn't seem to be a group because they were fighting. What was going on? Lin Yi felt even more strange. It seemed that these three cultivators didn't come to find him, but why did they come here to fight? Should I go or not? What made Lin Yi hesitate was that the other side had two peak late-stage heaven-rank powerhouses. It wasn't easy to meddle in the affairs of heaven-rank powerhouses. Lin Yi didn't want to get involved in other people's business. However, if he didn't know the background of these three people, Lin Yi wouldn't be at ease. These three people suddenly came to the West Star Mountain village. Even if they didn't come for Lin Yi would at least have to be on guard, right? Just as he was hesitating, he suddenly heard one of them shout, "Sixth brother, I can't hold on any longer." This old madman suddenly stopped being crazy. How did he become so powerful? The person who was called Sixth brother was also secretly complaining. This old madman suddenly stopped being crazy. Even he couldn't hold on any longer. He didn't know where this old thing got two incomparably overbearing heaven-rank weapons. Even an expert of the same level like him couldn't withstand it. Let's hold on for a while. This old thing is intermittent. I don't believe that he isn't crazy. The person called Sixth brother said while gritting his teeth. Okay. After the previous person heard it, he also gritted his teeth and said, I don't know if old Seven has recovered. He fell behind after being smashed by this old thing's axe. Old Seven has the Great Recover pill in hand. There shouldn't be a problem. Sixth brother said. Why were these two voices so familiar? Lin Yi frowned slightly. He seemed to have heard it somewhere. It seemed that they should be his acquaintances. But among his acquaintances, where was there an expert with the strength of peak late-stage heaven rank? Except for the heaven rank strange man. Yes. Could the old madman they were talking about be the heaven rank strange man? And when Lin Yi thought of the heaven rank strange man, he suddenly thought of the two people related to him, Old 6 and Old 12. Now it seemed that these two people should be from the Five Elements sect. They were the subordinates of ancestor Xianchen. They were brothers with Little 1 and Little 11. Could it be that they found the heaven-rank strange man and were besieging him? Last time Lin Yi was in the Wulonghout mountain range. He used an inescapable net to luckily escape from Old 12's pursuit. At that time, Old 12 was an expert with the strength of peak early-stage heaven rank. How high was he to Lin Yi? However, now that Lin Yi was an expert at the heaven rank early stage, he wouldn't be in such a sorry state when facing Old 12 again. Thinking that the person they were besieging might be the heaven rank strange man, Lin Yi no longer hesitated and ran over in a few steps. When Lin Yi got closer to take a look, his guess was right. The three people on the other side were the heaven rank strange man, Old 6 and Old 12. He saw that the divine weapon in the hands of the strange man had changed from the black iron rod last time to two huge battle axes. What surprised Lin Yi was that this time the strange man didn't seem to be crazy, because when he used the battle axes, he was quite methodical and could bring out the greatest power of the battle axes. On the other side, Old 6 and Old 12 were 2 against 1. Under the attack of the battle axes, they didn't have any advantage and were at a disadvantage. However, Lin Yi could also see that although they were at a disadvantage, it was impossible for the strange man to kill Old 6 and Old 12. The two of them were only slightly inferior. Moreover, the two of them had a tacit understanding. When one of them was in danger, the other could quickly protect him. This made the strange man's attacks fail again and again. At the very least, it shouldn't be a problem for Old 6 and Old 12 to hold on for 3 to 5 days. In the end, everyone would probably run out of true qi and scatter. Lin Yi was full of hatred for the people of the Five Elements sect. Old 6 and Old 12 were also his enemies. Although his hatred wasn't as big as Little 1 and Little 11, Lin Yi still had to take revenge for being chased by Old 12 like a dead dog. Thinking of this, Lin Yi directly shouted, "Master, I'm here to help you." Then he rushed over. Lin Yi was now an expert in the early stage of heaven rank. When he came nearby, he hit his strength. The strange man, Old 6 and Old 12 did not notice Lin Yi's arrival. But when Lin Yi shouted, it shocked them. Lin Yi! Old 6 and Old 12 were shocked. They quickly raised their heads to look at Lin Yi and immediately recognized him. As for Old 6 and Old 12, they had the same thought at the same time, and that was that today's situation was hopeless. The two of them were already having trouble dealing with the heaven class monster, And if Linny was added to the mix, then they would probably fall into the monster's trap. Chapter 3008. However, they were afraid that while dealing with the strange man, Linny would make a sneak attack from the side. With such a distraction, the strange man would have a chance to take advantage of them. Thus, the two of them decided to retreat and planned to take advantage of the heaven-rank eccentric's distraction to run away. The strange man turned around and looked at Lin Yi. His eyes flashed with a trace of confusion. Then, his whole body became a little sluggish, and his eyes no longer had the shrewdness from before. He suddenly shouted, "Goodly, you're here. The two of us, master and disciple, will get rid of these two bastards together." Seeing the strange man's expression and reaction, Lin Yi secretly cursed in his heart. How could he have thought that he just called him master, and the strange man became stupid again, without the shrewdness from before? If the strange man was as powerful as before, Lin Yi and him should have no problem killing Old 6 and Old 12, but now Old 6 and Old 12 were about to escape, but suddenly heard the strange man's words. They were stunned, but when they saw the strange man's appearance, they immediately became happy. Crazy! Crazy again! Wahahaha! 12 started laughing all of a sudden. 6th bro, this old thing's crazy. Haha, that kid Linny called him master and he turned into an idiot. Yes, Linny, thank you very much. It was quite difficult for us to deal with this old thing, but I didn't expect you to come and help us a lot. Old 6 also said happily. Don't worry, I will thank you properly. After I take care of this crazy old man, I will send you to accompany him. Master, how are you? Linny ran to the crazy old man with great concern, but Old 6 and Old 12 did not stop him. In their opinion, Linny did not escape, but ran to see the crazy old man's situation. It was undoubtedly an act of courting death. If Linny ran now, it might take them some time to kill the crazy old man, and they would not be able to find Linny at that time. But Linny actually took the initiative to die? 6th brother, it looks like this kid wants to die with us. Then we won't hold back. 12's words stopped abruptly at this point because he noticed to his surprise that a palm had suddenly pressed against his chest. Wildfire 8 trigram palm 8th form. Lin Yi's body that was originally running to the strange man made an incredible turn. Old 6 and Old 12 did not even see how Lin Yi turned around and walked over, and his palm had already pressed on Old 12's chest. Boom! Followed by a loud bang, Old 12's whole body flew out. At the same time, blood spurted out of his mouth, and a huge dent could be seen on his chest. His whole body directly fell on a tree trunk not far away, and then lay straight on the ground lifeless. Lin Yi did not urge the 9th form because once the 9th form was activated, it would consume all of Lin Yi's physical strength and chi, and Old 12 was just an early-stage heaven rank master. Although Old 12 came from the 5 Elements sect, and was stronger than ordinary early-stage heaven rank masters, but Lin Yi's 8th form could even kill a middle-stage heaven rank master from the everyday and everyday sect. Killing Old 12 should not be a problem. Now it seemed that Lin Yi's judgment was indeed correct. Old 12 undoubtedly died, and Lin Yi still retained at least half of his physical strength and chi. The reason why he chose Old 12 was also because Old 6 was too strong. With the strength of the peak late-stage heaven rank, Lin Yi did not even try to know that it was impossible to kill him, so it was better to pick a soft persimmon and find someone who could be killed in one go. When Old 12 died, only Old 6 was left. With the strange man in heaven rank and Lin Yi's help, he should be able to deal with it. Impossible. How is it possible? You are an early-stage heaven rank master? Old 6 looked at Lin Yi shocked and angry. Lin Yi was actually an early-stage heaven rank master? How could he not know? But it was no wonder, the news of Lin Yi's breakthrough had just spread out, and he and Old 12 had been chasing the strange man in heaven rank for almost half a month, from the territory of the 5 Elements sect to the West Star Mountain. During this period, the strange man in heaven rank was sometimes good and sometimes bad, sometimes crazy and sometimes sober, so it dragged on. No one could defeat the other. They chased for a while and fought for a while, but fortunately when they chased here they had already figured out the strange man's fighting style. Waiting for him to go crazy, they could take him down in one fell swoop. But who would have thought that Lin Yi would appear out of nowhere? And Lin Yi was actually an early-stage heaven rank master. Of course, what puzzled Old 6 the most was that even if Lin Yi was in the early-stage heaven rank, Old 12 was at the peak of the early-stage heaven rank, and the disciples of the 5 Elements sect were often stronger than other cultivators of the same level. But it seemed that this was not the case. Lin Yi was actually stronger than old 12. Moreover, what was most inconceivable was Lin Yi's qinggong just now. Even the speed of a heaven rank master couldn't be that fast, right? A moment ago he was still standing in front of the strange man, and the next moment he directly teleported in front of old 12 and sent him flying with a palm? Was this footwork a new type of martial art specially used for sneak attacks? However, the strange man didn't give old 6 the time to ask. Although he was crazy, the 2 axes in his hands didn't stop. They swung in the air like a tiger and smashed towards old 6's face. Old thing, you're courting death. Old 6 didn't get to ask why, but instead suffered a fierce attack from the strange man. He was so angry that he raised the ruler in his hand and smashed it towards the strange man's head. This was his heaven rank weapon, and old 12's heaven rank weapon was a black token. Although Lin Yi didn't know what it was, he had already coveted it and was ready to secretly pick it up later. The heaven rank eccentric didn't dodge and directly swung his 2 axes at old 6. These 2 axes were much longer than the ruler, so old 6 was startled and quickly dodged. The ruler was also taken back by him. He had no choice but to dodge. If he didn't dodge, the strange man's axe would smash towards him. Wouldn't his head be directly split open? It must be known that although the strange man was now in a crazy state, his strength hadn't decreased. He just didn't have any method to fight the enemy, so he fought randomly. Chapter 3009. Originally, it should have been easy to deal with the crazy heaven ranker, but now it had become extremely difficult. Otherwise, he and 12th brother would have killed the heaven ranker long ago. Why would they wait until now? And they had finally found a flaw in the heaven ranker. When he was awake, there was a blind spot that he couldn't take care of. This was also the reason why when one person was in danger, the other person could help him escape. Because once the other person attacked from the position of the flaw, the heaven ranker had to protect himself. Thus, when the heaven rank eccentric went berserk, one person attacked from the front while the other attacked from an opening. The heaven rank eccentric wasn't clear-headed and simply didn't have time to think about it, so it was very likely that he would be killed. But now that there was one less person, it was difficult to implement this plan. 6th brother could only brace himself and fight against the heaven ranker. Fortunately, this person was relatively stupid now, so 6th brother could barely gain the upper hand, but it was impossible to eliminate him. Lin Yi watched the battle between 6th brother and the heaven ranker. From the current situation, the heaven ranker couldn't do anything to 6th brother because 6th brother was not stupid and dodged very quickly. Moreover, the heaven ranker was attacking randomly, so he couldn't hit 6th brother at all. Several times, the heaven ranker's battle axe was easily dodged by 6th brother, which made Lin Yi secretly feel pity. At the same time, Lin Yi was also thinking about how to help the heaven ranker kill 6th brother. If 6th brother escaped today, then Lin Yi was afraid that there would be endless troubles in the future. Although Boss Bai and Ancestor Xianqin had an agreement, that was also under the premise of mutual non-aggression. Now that Lin Yi had killed 12th brother, 6th brother could go back and tell Ancestor Xianqin. Ancestor Xianqin would have enough reason to send people to kill him, who asked him to kill someone else first. If old 6 and old 12 came to find trouble with Lin Yi first and were killed by Lin Yi, Patriarch Xianqin could only swallow his broken teeth. If he wanted to find Lin Yi for revenge, Boss Bai would definitely not agree because he was in the wrong. But now old 12 was dead. Although Lin Yi was helping the heaven-ranked weirdo, essentially Lin Yi had nothing to do with the heaven-ranked weirdo. As long as Patriarch Xianqin insisted on this, he would attack Lin Yi, and Boss Bai would be helpless. To put it bluntly, many things in the ancient times needed a reason that everyone could live with. With a reason, there was nothing to worry about. However, no matter how Lin Yi thought about it, he couldn't think of a way to deal with old 6. The true Qi bomb had been compressed for too long, and Lin Yi couldn't guarantee that the true Qi bomb would have an effect on old 6. After all, old 6 was a peak late-stage heaven stage master. It was hard to say if Lin Yi's true Qi bomb could cause any harm to him. As for the Frenzy 8 trigram fire palm, even if Lin Yi used the 9th form, it shouldn't have any effect on old 6. After all, the 9th form could kill a peak mid-stage heaven stage master in an instant. It was unknown whether it could seriously injure a peak late-stage heaven stage master, let alone a peak late-stage heaven stage master. After thinking about it, Lin Yi's brain was working at full speed, constantly recalling the experiences he had when he fought enemies above his level. However, it didn't seem to be applicable, because the highest level masters Lin Yi fought against were Zhang Naipeo's two subordinates, Ba and Jiu, mid-stage heaven stage masters. Suddenly, Lin Yi had a flash of inspiration, thinking of Zhang Naipeo. Lin Yi suddenly thought of Zhang Naipeo's heaven-defying skill, Dark Demon of Hell Fist, and after Lin Yi's modification, the Dark Demon of Hell Fist became the Raging Inferno Fist. Although the power of the Raging Inferno Fist was not as strong as the Dark Demon of Hell Fist, it could also make people fall into an illusion. Zhang Naipeo was like this back then, unable to extricate himself from the illusion. However, this Dark Demon of Hell Fist also had a shortcoming, and that was the effect was not very obvious for high-level practitioners. Some strong-willed people could quickly recover from the illusion, but it was also possible that there was no effect at all. But no matter what, since Lin Yi thought of this move, he could only give it a try. If this move didn't work, Lin Yi could only waste his last inescapable net to trap Old Six, and then let the Heaven Stage monster directly smash Old Six to death with his axe. Thinking of this, Lin Yi activated the mantra of the Raging Inferno Fist, and then according to the method of the Dark Demon of Hell Fist, suddenly made a move, punching towards Old Six's head and shouted, "Raging Inferno Fist." Old Six was nervously dealing with the Heaven Stage monster, and when Lin Yi made his move he also chose the right time, just as the Heaven Stage monster swung his axe. And the moment Old Six hurriedly used the ruler to block Lin Yi's Raging Inferno Fist was also activated. A stream of vital energy shot into Old Six's head, and then Old Six roared fiercely, his eyes showing a look of incomparable horror. He suddenly felt that he was in a sea of fire, and the sea of fire was chasing after him, and was about to burn him. Old Six was shocked, and subconsciously turned around to run away. However, after all, he was an expert at the peak of the late stage of Heaven Stage, and also a disciple of the Five Elements sect, so his willpower was not ordinary. If it wasn't because he was dealing with the Heaven Stage monster's attack and didn't pay attention to Lin Yi's martial arts, he wouldn't have let Lin Yi so easily. Therefore, after just a moment of illusion, Old Six roared again, broke through the illusion, and successfully escaped from the sea of fire. However, he was very shocked in his heart. Lin Yi actually had the ability to create illusions for others? What kind of martial arts was this? However, after Old Six opened his eyes, he saw two battle axes falling from the sky, smashing towards his head. This was the last scene he saw after he woke up. Then, Old Six's head directly burst open, and he collapsed on the ground, turning into a bloody gourd. Although it was only a moment of confusion, it was only a few seconds from when Old Six was hit by the Raging Inferno Fist to when he woke up, but these few seconds were enough for the Heaven Stage monster's battle axe to smash Old Six's head. Although the Heaven Stage monster was smashing randomly, his strength was still there, and Old Six had just woken up, so he didn't have time to defend or dodge, and his head was smashed open like a watermelon. Old Six's death could be said to be very unjust. If the Heaven Stage monster was in a sober state he would have accepted it, but he was in a crazy state and could still be beaten to death. He died with his eyes open. However, his eyes were already gone, they were smashed into pieces. Chapter 30:10. After Lin Yi used the Raging Hellfire Fist, his physical strength and true chi were instantly drained, and he slumped to the ground. On the other hand, the strange man was full of energy at the moment. After killing Old Six, he didn't feel tired at all. "Li the enemy was killed by us, master and disciple. I'll leave this thing with you first. I helped you steal it from the enemy's base camp. Take a look at it first. I'm hungry, I'll go find something to eat." After saying that, the strange man took out a bamboo scroll from his bosom and threw it in front of Lin Yi. Then, without waiting for Lin Yi to speak, he turned around and ran into the depths of the mountains. "Master!" Lin Yi quickly called out, but the man didn't pay attention to him as he walked away until he was out of sight. Lin Yi didn't even have the strength to stand up and chase after him. He could only helplessly watch the strange man leave. With Lin Yi's past experience, the strange man had left. He probably wouldn't be able to come back. The next time they met would be uncertain. Lin Yi wanted to wait for the Heaven-class monster to wake up and ask him how he pissed off Old Six and Old 12, how they chased him all the way here, and what was this bamboo scroll he gave him. But all these questions, Lin Yi could only put them in his heart. He could only wait for the next time they met to ask. After putting the bamboo scroll away, Linny didn't look at it directly. Instead, he quickly entered the space of the jade pendant and ran the second level of the art of dragon mastery to restore his lost physical strength and true chi. Although the enemy had been dealt with, Linny was afraid of any unforeseen events, so restoring his strength was the first priority. And this bamboo scroll could be looked at any time. There was no hurry. It wouldn't be too late to look at it when his strength was restored. However, just as Linny was sitting cross-legged on the ground and running the art of dragon mastery to restore his physical strength and true chi, footsteps came from not far away. This made Linny a little surprised. Could it be that the strange man really came back? Of course, it didn't matter if it was the strange man, but Linny was afraid that other people would pass by, such as the villagers of West Star Village. Would they be scared when they saw the two corpses on the ground? However, Linny really didn't have the strength to deal with the two corpses now. He could only brace himself and continue to restore his physical strength and true chi. If there were really villagers passing by, Linny could only make up a random reason. The footsteps came from afar, but after Linny heard it clearly, his face showed a relaxed expression, because the footsteps were very familiar to Linny. It was Ergooden, and Linny relaxed and let the footsteps come closer. Ergooden came to West Star Village to hunt this morning. After having a family, Ergooden had to work harder to earn money to support his family. So, coming to West Star Village to hunt every morning had become his job. But today, Ergooden sensed an unusual scent in this mountain range. It was the smell of blood. Could it be that there were beasts fighting here? Ergooden wasn't afraid. He ran over with the mentality of watching a show. But when he saw the scene in front of him, he froze. "Boss? Why are you here?" Ergooden really didn't think that he would meet Linny in Donghai City while hunting. When he saw the two corpses not far away, he was even more surprised. "Who are these two corpses?" "Ergooden, you came at the right time. I'm restoring my physical strength and pure chi. Help me patrol the area. Other than a crazy man with messy hair and two battle axes, don't let anyone near here." Linny didn't have time to explain things to Ergooden. "Okay." Gooden didn't even think about it, nodding and disappearing into the nearby forest, patrolling back and forth. Linny, on the other hand, continued to use the second stage of the art of dragon mastery to quickly recover his physical strength. Old 7, who was also the person that Old 6 was talking about, had been hit by the heaven-ranked monster's battle axe when he was still conscious and was seriously injured. He had no choice but to sit on the ground to heal while Old 6 and Old 12 chased after the heaven-ranked monster. But as Old 6 and Old 12 chased after him, they left some special marks of the 5 elements sect on the ground, and so Old 7 chased after them. Ergooden patrolled and hunted at the same time, and in the blink of an eye, he had a wild boar on his back. There were a lot of wild boars here and he could kill one easily. Of course, this was in the mountains and not many people dared to go into the mountains alone. There were a lot of wild animals in the mountains, but there were also a lot of dangers. Leopards, wolves, and other things often appeared. In the distance there were footsteps and Ergooden became alert. He hunted every day, and he could even recognize the footsteps of all kinds of beasts. The footsteps today definitely didn't belong to a beast, but a person. Although Ergooden was alert, he didn't show it on the surface. He looked like a harmless village boy. Soon the footsteps got nearer, and a man wearing a black bagua robe that looked like an old man, but he looked like he was only in his 30s. Ergooden looked at him. He didn't have an axe in his hand, and only had a sword by his waist. Evidently, he wasn't the crazy man with the axe that Linny said. And so, Ergooden's face showed a surprised expression. This person was naturally Old 7. He chased all the way to Star West Mountain, and he didn't see Old 6, Old 12, or the heaven-class weirdo. Instead, he saw a village boy. Old 7 looked at Gooden attentively. He was wearing rough clothes and he had a wild boar on his back. This was definitely a hunter nearby, and so he didn't have his guard up. He walked over and asked directly, "Kid, you're hunting here?" "Old Grandpa." "Oh no, Uncle, where are you from? How come I don't know you?" Gooden asked honestly. "I'm here to look for someone. I'm not a local. Let me ask you something. When you were hunting here, did you see 3 people? 2 of them were dressed like me, and the other one was an old man with 2 big axes in his hands?" 7 chased them here, but didn't find any clues left by 12 and 6, so he asked Gooden. Chapter 30:11. 2 people who are dressed like you? And an old man with 2 big axes? Gooden remembered it right away. The 2 dead men beside Linny, weren't they dressed the same as this guy? Gooden didn't notice it at the time, but now that 7 reminded him, it seemed like this person was with those 2. He was probably the enemy of that crazy axe old man? But to confirm his guess, Gooden asked dumbly, "Is it a crazy old man with an axe? Are they fighting?" Yes. The 2 men in the same attire are from the same gang, and the crazy old man with the battle axe is from the same gang. Do you see them? Where are they? Old 7 quickly nodded, thinking that the country boy in front of him had indeed seen them. Let me think which direction they went. Gooden scratched his head, acting like he was in deep thought. Yes, think about it. Old 7 said quickly. They're going there. Gooden pointed with his left hand and punched with his right while 7 was turning his head to look. Bam! With a loud bang, Old 7 directly flew into the sky like a flying man. Ah! The 7th brother screamed in agony. His eyes were filled with shock and disbelief. He didn't think that a village boy who was hunting here would attack him without any warning. And with such strength. 7th felt as if his organs were about to explode. This was his last thought before he fell to the ground heavily, dying a wrongful death. He didn't understand why Gooden wanted to kill him even when he died. Furthermore, how could a village boy possess such extraordinary strength? What was going on? He was a sky-class late-phase peak. In actuality, Old 7's death was quite unjustified. He didn't have his guard up against Gooden at all. Think about it, this was a local village boy hunting here. And he had no grudges with Old 7. They hadn't even met before, so why would he suddenly kill him? Plus 7 was a sky-class late-phase peak. Even if this village boy attacked him, he wouldn't be able to do anything to him, right? This was one of the things 7 didn't guard against. But Gooden just did it, and it wasn't a normal assassin. He sent 7 straight to heaven. Alright, you'll see those 2 soon. Gooden said honestly to 7's corpse. Gooden was an honest guy, but he wasn't stupid. 7's 2 friends were dead, and his 2 friends were enemies of the axe-wielding freak. Linny even said that he was allowed to get close, so didn't that mean that Linny was on the freak side? And so, Gooden killed 7 so that he wouldn't disturb Linny's training. After killing 7, Gooden continued patrolling nearby. Linny, who wasn't far away, didn't expect that Gooden had just killed a sky-class late-phase peak from the 5 Elements sect. Although Linny heard some fighting sounds, he thought that Gooden was hunting. After all, 6 didn't make things clear, and Linny didn't expect that there would be someone chasing after him. If he knew, Linny would have told Gooden to carry him back. After killing 7, Gooden didn't bother Linny. He patrolled around the area to see if anyone else was coming, but other than 7, no one else came. He waited until noon when Linny called him. Gooden dragged 7's corpse to Linny's side. Seeing the corpse in Gooden's hands, Linny jumped. Gooden, who is this? How come there's another corpse? Boss, this is the person I killed. He's the accomplice of the 2 dead people. Gooden said. Before, when I was patrolling there, I met him. He asked me about the 2 people who were dressed like him, and about the sky-class madman with a battle axe. I was afraid that he would come to trouble me, so I killed him with 1 punch. You killed him just like that? Linny knew about Gooden's strength, but he died just like that. Linny still felt sorry for the 5 Elements sect. He probably didn't even know how he died. I wonder what kind of expert he is. But he couldn't be weak, he had a sword on his waist, it should be his sky-class weapon. This person was at least a sky-class early phase. However, Linny suddenly remembered what Old 6 and Old 12 had said. They mentioned Old 7, so this person should be the Old 7 that would come later. Old 6 was a sky-class late-phase peak, so this person couldn't be weak either. He was at least sky-class late-phase, or maybe he was also sky-class late-phase peak. He died a horrible death. But Linny was very scared. If Gooden didn't come, he wouldn't be able to fight 7 when he recovered his chi and the sky-class freak wasn't there. Plus, even if he didn't recover his chi, he wouldn't be able to fight 7. You hit him and he didn't fight back? Linny asked quickly. No, I lied to him. Gooden told the situation to Linny, and Linny couldn't help but laugh. This 7 was really unlucky. In his eyes, a weak village kid suddenly became a tiger. Gooden, you were really lucky. If you didn't lie to him, no one would be able to save you if he hit you. Linny said. Yes, so I had to outsmart him. Gooden nodded. Mayu Yuanyuan said that I shouldn't always use brute force, I should use my brain. Haha. Linny couldn't help but laugh. Let's clean up and go back. Don't tell anyone about what happened today. Boss, don't worry. Yuanyuan and I won't tell anyone about this. Gooden nodded. Linny searched the 3 corpses on the ground. He didn't expect them to be poor bastards. Other than 3 sky-class weapons, there was nothing else. There was a small box on the 7th brother's body. It was an antique box that was used to store pills, but it was empty. It could be assumed that after the 7th brother was injured by the strange heaven rank man, he used the 3rd grade great cyclic pill to recover.